Being raised in the diaspora as a Pacific Islander, it's not easy, especially when you're a darker complexion Pacific Islander. We only learned culture to survive. We were really poor, and so my parents taught us dance and song and stories really just because we would go put luau's on to make money. So we were playing like weddings, parties, holiday parties, work parties, and that was like our way to survive. But we would also take home all the food they didn't eat and put it in the freezer and just survive off that until the next luau. The most important thing you got to do is realize, like I said earlier, we come from the land, we are the land. Your kino, your body is literal aina. You are a literal walking piece of Hawaii. No matter how much or how little Hawaiian you are Hawaii. So the most important thing you can do is malamo kokino, care for your own body.
Velina mai kako. Welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by explaining to your friends outside of Hawaii how the Hawaiian flag isn't the British flag. I'm your host Kamaka, and a part of me thinks it would be pretty cool if we were British instead of American, because then we'd have super cool accents. But enough of my random thoughts. We have a great episode for you today. Before we introduce our guests, I gotta remind you to check out keepitaloha.com to buy some KIA merch. If you want to stay warm like me in this hoodie, spread some aloha with shirts, go ahead and buy some. I know that supporting us with money isn't always possible though, but if you still love this podcast, please consider leaving us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to me. I read every single review, and to prove it, let me share this heartfelt review from Bo Tosaka. Great name, by the way. This person says, mean. Mahalo Kamaka for bringing a platform to the people of Hawaii to hear the background and thoughts of our local stars. You ask very insightful questions and thought-provoking questions that allow us to get to know them better. Keep up the good work. Arigato nui loa. Mahalo so much for that review, Boto Saka. I can't say that name without laughing. I'm sorry. All right. This is a great start to this episode. Let's introduce our guests. 'Tis the season for giving, and your local Texaco is bringing you 12 days of gifts. At any Texaco in Hawaii, the first 25 customers per day who use the Texaco app to buy 8 gallons or more of fuel between December 11th through December 22nd will receive an exclusive gift. Act fast with gifts like beach totes, mobile speakers, with a free Kimie Minor download, and more. These gifts will go faster than Santa's sleigh. So dash inside with your receipt and discover your special gift. Mele Kalikimaka from Texaco in Hawaii. Our guest today is a Tongan, Hawaiian, and Māori educator from Idaho. Although he grew up on the continent, he has very deep roots in Polynesia and was taught at an early age the art of Polynesian dance, herbal medicine, and Pacific folklore. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Pacific Island Studies from the University of Hawai'i at Mānoa, and also completed a master's degree in indigenous education from Arizona State University. He also has his teaching certificate in secondary education from Johns Hopkins University. This multifaceted Kanaka also has released 2 albums and 1 EP and has completed multiple tours across the United States. Currently, he teaches high school Polynesia music, history, and culture here in Hawaii. This husband and father of one was also a 2017 Teach for America Core member and is a part-time cultural historical guide. He does a lot. I am so stoked to talk stories with him today. He does it all. His name is Kiliona Palauni. Aloha, Kiliona. Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast. How you doing?
Aloha. I'm good, man. I mean, like I feel like it's a bit cliche to say like everybody else, oh, when you put it like that, it sounds like so much accomplishments, but no one ever says it back.
Yeah.
So hearing I'm like, wow, I did all those things. Huh?
You would be surprised. A lot of guests have the same reaction. They're like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't remember that I did all those things. But it's my favorite part. I know I put a lot of work in the intro of the shows because I like to brag about my guests. The Boto Saga really I struggled with getting through this intro. Sorry to our audience members, but I couldn't stop laughing. But anyways, this is about you. I'm so happy that you're here. We actually met on Jamie Kilstein's episode when we recorded a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. He was staying with you, or he was just cruising with you?
So he actually found me through my posts, my cultural historical posts, and we kind of just linked up that way and Talk Story DM. And then he told me he was going to come out, and then it was for you. And I was like, oh, bro, yeah, come stay with me. And so he came over, and we did a lot of cultural things and, showed him a lot of history and culture, and just like re-identifying him with the Aina. And yeah, it was an awesome experience to come and sit in and listen into that last episode too. So
yeah, and I'm happy that you're here as the guest now, not just a guest of the guest, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I was just scrolling on Instagram, looking at your profile, looking at some videos, and I'm like, oh, this guy Kiliona, he got some ike, he got some knowledge. So I just want you to share that with our audience today.
I appreciate that.
It's going to be a good episode. And you have a very interesting story because you didn't grow up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people who listen to this are Hawaiians or people of Hawaii that live on the continent. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be a really relatable episode. So let's dive right into it.
Sounds good.
You know how we start. Where are you from? Where are you grad? And what was it like growing up?
So where I'm from, my mom is a Molokai girl. My dad's from Tonga. And they met in, I believe, in Idaho, Utah area. My mom got into pharmacy school at ISU, and her family is her white side is from this tiny town called Downey. If you ever saw Napoleon Dynamite, town next to that's even smaller and lamer is where I was born.
Way.
So my parents had me in the worst, cheapest hospital because they just couldn't afford anywhere else. So they literally drove like 2 hours in a blizzard to get to this hospital just so I could be born there. Its population is like 603. So shout out to Downey. I lived right off the Fort Hall Reservation as a kid, so I had a lot of upbringing around the Native American groups there. Spent some years in Twin Falls. I think that's where my foundational years happened in Idaho. And then my family moved because my sister to Utah when she got into University of Utah for track. And so I went over there and actually graduated from probably one of the most Caucasian schools in Utah called Skyline. It was awesome opportunity. Funny because the year I graduated, we actually played Kahuku for our season opener, and we beat them, and it was nuts because I had to line up on my own cousin. So it was like we were just like facing off the whole time. It was being raised in the diaspora as a Pacific Islander. It's not easy, especially when you're a darker complexion Pacific Islander. Idaho wasn't the easiest. Everybody just thought I was Hispanic or African American. There was a lot of racial profiling happening when I was a kid. So that was one obstacle. But then the other one was just trying to navigate being a Pacific Islander in the diaspora and identifying what and who I am around all these other kids that have skin color like me, but still have, their indigenous roots of Native American or, Latina. My dad worked a lot and my mom was in school a lot, so we only learned culture to survive. We were really poor, and so my parents taught us dance and song and stories really just because we would go put luau's on to make money. So we were playing like weddings, parties, holiday parties, work parties, and that was like our way to survive. But we would also take home all the food they didn't eat and put it in the freezer and just survive off that until the next luau. And so I think that's where my cultural roots really kicked in, and I was always really, really freaking proud to be Pacific Islander. But my dad just never taught us the language of Tongan, and I think that's because a lot of issues came from him. When they moved when he was 12 to America, they were like the first Tongans to come to Salt Lake, and they didn't know what to do with him, so they just stuck him and his cousins and brothers in a literal broom closet and just put Sesame Street on replay, and that's how he learned English. So I think like the trauma of that made him never want to teach me and my sister how to speak. So there was always that disconnect. Utah, we had a lot more. There's a lot of Polynesians in Utah. But even then, they just teach the dance and the basics, but most of them are so LDS or Christian, that they don't want to teach a lot of the other side of Tongan culture and identity. And so I was always longing for it. I wanted to come to Hawaii because my grandma was here and I have an auntie here. I begged my mom to let me come to school here, but nobody would put me up. So my brother came and he went to Mililani, and I was so jealous, but I never got to come. And so as an adult, I made it a point to move back and reclaim Hawaii and re-indigenize myself.
Wow. What a crazy story. I mean, just growing up here, born and raised, going to Hawaiian immersion school, being able to learn the native language of the land, so privileged. I feel very blessed. And of course, I didn't see that growing up. You know, it was just like, I want to get out of this. I want to go travel everywhere else. That's not Hawaii, right? I want to go do all the American things, you know?
Right.
And it's so funny to hear the other side of it, where it's like, you didn't have any of it and you're longing for it so much. And here we are just like not even appreciating, right?
You know, it's there was a band that had a lyric that we toured with a little, and they had this line that just stuck with me, and this is like 15 years now. And it was, city kids want the country, country kids want the city. And it's like, it's so true.
Yes.
You know, you want what you can't have. And, you know, I was lucky because my dad worked for SkyWest and Delta. So, like, we were always here. Every 3-day weekend or 4-day weekend, we flew over. So we were here a lot, but I just never wanted to leave. Like, I would literally, like, cry on the plane, but I would, like, try to hide it because my siblings would make fun of me. So I was
hey,
like,
you cry? No.
Yeah, I was the youngest. So I was just like...
got some dust in my eye, all right?
Yeah, and I still do, even if I have to fly just for like a 4-day thing in the continent, you know, I'll like tear up, like I don't want to leave.
Well, one question I want you to answer for some of the audience that might not know what diaspora is, because I know that's a newer word for even me. I probably learned it in the last year or two, and I always got confused, like how to say it. Is it diaspora?
Yeah.
Diaspora? Like how? Yeah. So first, what is the correct pronunciation, and what is diaspora?
You know, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if there is a right pronunciation. Some will say diaspora, some will say diaspora, or some will say diaspora.
Or diaspora?
Diaspora.
Or is that not the
that one I don't think is right.
No, so not diaspora.
But, I mean, maybe it is. But what it is ultimately it's just a person living outside of the motherland of their indigenous group. So any person that is Mexican living outside of Mexico lives in the diaspora. Any Hawaiian that lives outside of the archipelago of Hawaii is in the diaspora. And so, like, no matter what, you know, I'm in the diaspora because I'm a mix, you know, Tongan, Hawaiian, Māori, white, Chinese, Japanese. Like, I'm just kind of a mutt. So, but I identify as oceanic. So anywhere outside of the Pacific, I would say I'm in the diaspora, living outside of the motherland.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for that explanation. So a lot of people living in Hawaii, say, for example, they're Hapa, Haole Japanese. Are they in diaspora?
That's a great question. To me, I think it's more what you really identify with. If it's the Hapa side that's Japanese or the Hapa side that's Haole, yeah, you're living in the diaspora because you're not in the motherland of what you identify with. But you know, to me, that's a hard one because mixed people are mixed people. There's really no place that is genuinely home, I guess, unless you really base it off colonial blood quantum. Then you could say, well, you're 47% that, you know, that's what you're most of. So that's what you have to identify. But I don't like putting those constraints on us. So.
Yeah. It's such an interesting topic that's come to the forefront a lot recently about blood quantum, cultural, ethnic identity, all these things. I mean, we talk about it on the podcast all the time, and I talk about it all the time and on the clips, and even a recent clip we even got a lot of heat, you know, for having certain opinions. It's funny because I think you know what clip I'm talking about, and maybe if people follow us on social media, you know what clip. It's a perfect example of people listening to respond, not listening to understand. And you made a response to it too, which I love because, you know, you responded to it, but you also listened to understand. You understood what I was trying to say, even though I could have articulated it way better. But it was because Jordan was here talking to me, and so it's like talking like you're just talking with a friend. Yeah, just talking crap, like yeah, whatever. So that's why that side came out. And a lot of it was just misunderstood. Even like another video, I said I don't believe in blood quantum, and then people started commenting like, "Oh, you don't believe in Hawaiian blood?" I'm like, I specifically said blood quantum, guys.
Yeah,
people are gonna hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
But that's why these conversations like this, it's important, and like you leading by example as a member of the diaspora, educating others about what it is, what it's like. It's so important, and it's a side that people need to hear about, because right now I'm coming from my lens of Hawaii. I grew up here, not in diaspora. I've traveled to other places, and I've seen other cultures, spoken with other cultures, lived with other cultures, and nobody really talks about identity as much as us Hawaiians, us Polynesians. I promise, it's like indigenous cultures have a lot of struggle, trauma, generational trauma, colonial trauma, but we got a lot going on here in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I think Hawaii more than other places, man, because we're such a cultural melting pot, and so many people are so many things. And after the overthrow and the mass assimilation, so many of us are like trying to put the pieces back together and find out who we are. But there's also those rogue warriors that are, blood quantum purists that like, no, you can't do it unless you're this much Hawaiian. And you have the other side that's like, oh, do whatever you like, just do it pono. And like,
what is the right answer?
Right. And what is the right answer? And a lot of it, unfortunately, is just lost. And so, we're refiguring out how to be Hawaiian, and something that was lost for years, like my grandpa wasn't able to be Hawaiian, didn't teach my mom like anything. She came into the world, didn't teach me anything other than all the hula she knew and some of the stories of mo'olelos. But like, when it came to herbal plants, I didn't learn that from my mom. I learned that from my great uncle in Molokai. And that's about all he was able to offer me, other than some mo'olelo of the region. But it bums me out because there's no winning. Like you do so much for the lahui, but you're always going to have haters. I do so much, I try to do so much, and there's always going to be haters. And, you just have to have a thick skin to do what we do and to just be a cultural practitioner in general. Kalehua talks about it a lot. Since I work with him, I hear him talk about these issues all the time. And we struggle with them at work too, with our own coworkers. This idea of indigeneity and what's appropriate and not appropriate to do and teach and talk about at school. And it's just, I think it's honestly, it's sad. It's sad that we can't just authentically, unapologetically be Hawaiian or be Polynesian without some caveat of, well, wait, that contradicts this, or that doesn't line up with our religion or whatever. And it's like, well, you can be what you want, but be Hawaiian first, be Tongan first, be Samoan first. That is what you are.
And I think a lot of confusion comes from the host culture as well, because say you're Tongan and Māori, maybe you're not even Hawaiian, but the host culture is Hawaiian. So you're obviously gonna, practice Hawaiian values and cultural, and just because it's nice to be respectful to the host culture.
I mean, if we're going to be real, I'm in a Tauvala and a Tupenu right now for this. This is my Tongan attire. I'm majority Tongan when it comes to my blood quantum, in theory. I'm if you want to be honest, I'm like 6% Hawaiian. That's it. 6%. But I've always felt the closest to Hawaiian. Even though I'm Tongan, I'm the ulumotua, the oldest son of the oldest son, and have a lot of kuleana with that, I've always felt my draw to Hawaii and my kuleana to Hawaii to perpetuate Hawaii. Because to me, Tonga has so much. They're so rich. We never lost our culture. We were never conquered. No one can own our land. But Hawaii needs our malama. She needs the malama bad. And that was my calling, to really come back and embrace this. And Hawaii, even my own family, my mom's sisters were like, why do you act like you're Mr. Hawaii? You're not even that much Hawaiian. I'm like, my own auntie gonna, mock me and belittle my blood quantum as if that's any validation of the job and the work that I do to perpetuate this place and uplift our stories and our ike. So, you get it from everybody.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of everything we talk about, regardless of what you see, what you hear, how you live, it's up to you to define who you are.
Of course.
You don't need any external validation. It's nice to, hear somebody say something that aligns with exactly what you say, right. Your ideologies. If only we could be around agreeable people all the time, right? That would be the greatest. Everybody agrees with everything we say, right. Says the perfect things to make us happy. And, it's going to come from you. If you don't think you are not Hawaiian enough, Polynesian enough, any other ethnicity enough, like that's on you. It's on you. It's your own personal journey. Mm-hmm. And it comes down to just like same with happiness or any other like value that makes you a human being. It just comes down to that. I mean, this whole podcast, 100-something episodes, it's just been a journey of me trying to find out my cultural identity, talking with people, figuring things out. Like, people are literally watching me figure out my own identity on this podcast.
But, I mean, we have everything at our fingertips. There's no excuse. It doesn't matter if you're in the diaspora. It doesn't matter if you're halfway around the world. We have the tools now to get as much as we can. I mean, you don't have to be in Hawaii to be a Hawaiian historian, a Hawaiian activist, a Hawaiian cultural practitioner. You can do it from anywhere. To be honest, the best ipu don't even grow in Hawaii. You want to learn make ipu, then go seek people in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and have them teach you the process of making ipu and then sell it back to our halau here. There's the internet to learn olelo. That's how I've been teaching myself olelo after college. There's ulu kau with endless resources and books and mo'olelo and nupepa and translations. It's just that you have it all at your fingertips. I even have a video that gives you those on my Instagram that tells you a bunch of websites that you can utilize. And it's just like, if you want it, do it. There's always time. And everybody makes excuses. Well, I don't have time. I work like I theoretically work one full-time job, but I have like 3 jobs. I do cultural consulting, tour guide, this, plus I'm teaching, plus I'm a dad. You know what I mean? All these things, layer, plus halau, plus band. And it's like, you will find time. If you have a passion and you want to re-indigenize and decolonize, or just have a little more understanding, it's there. If you want to find it, come find me. I will show you sites to do it gladly.
Yes, no, preach that. I'm in the mindset of you could do anything you want. No matter how busy you are. I just ran a marathon. Yeah. I have like 5 different jobs. I do this podcast. Right. Like I learned Japanese. I started learning Japanese about a month ago, and that's only 10 minutes out of my day. Yeah. 10 minutes before I go to sleep. I mean, yes, I don't have a kid. I understand my privilege. It's like talking about like Hawaiian privilege is like having white privilege. Yeah, it's like I gotta say that I'm privileged. Yes, okay. Don't hate me.
It's opening up. It's opening up Quizlet. I use Quizlet for my Hawaiian vocab, and so I just have all these Quizlets that other people made. I don't make them. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah,
but I use their Quizlets, and I won't even lie to you guys. I know it's embarrassing, but I'll sit on the toilet and I will practice my
wherever you can
vocab on Quizlet. There's always time.
Yeah, no, 10 minutes, even if it's very basic stuff. Yeah, all I know is, kore wa ocha desu. Through 10 minutes a day, I can at least say, this is tea.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's a start. There's people who are always complaining that like, I try not to get mad, but I'm just like, I feel bad for people because they're spending so much time on social media hating and talking about other people's lives instead of living their own lives. Right. And that's what makes me so sad because I'm like, this whole time you took like 10 to 15 minutes to make a video talking about somebody else's life, you could have been learning Hawaiian. And you're saying, oh, sorry that I didn't go to Hawaiian immersion school and I didn't have the language at my fingertips. Maluhia states, he learned when he was in Utah. He didn't grow up in Hawaii. He's one of the best Hawaiian language speakers that I know.
Dang.
At least like to my ears, I'm like, the way he speaks is so amazing. The journey that he went on to learn Hawaiian with his wife and now teaches it to his kids. And now he's a teacher of Hawaiian.
That's amazing.
He didn't go to Hawaiian immersion school. He didn't grow up speaking Hawaiian. And I think he's probably better than me at speaking Hawaiian. And I've been speaking it for 30 years, you know?
Right.
There, like you said, there are ways, there's resources, avenues. You just have to prioritize it. And you just have to, you really have to have that conversation with yourself. Like, is this what I really want? Because I've learned 4 other languages in my life, you know?
Right.
And you know why I did that? Because I really, 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 really wanted to learn it. I'm so passionate about languages. I just love learning languages. And yes, Spanish has more resources.
Of course. I mean, we have the least resources, let's be real. But like, there is some.
There are.
And there are some out there. And there's people out there that teach it. There's people out there that do it for free. There's courses out there for free. There's people that you can pay. There's so many options. And, you know, I won't even lie. Like, I could definitely do more. And I keep telling myself, I'm going to learn Tongan, you know, too. And I put it on the back burner. But, like, I'm at a point now where the only person to blame is myself. You know, I don't have time. Like, yes, you do, bro. You sat on the couch and scrolled through Instagram for an hour. Like, you have the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, but also don't put too much pressure on. Do what you can within your capacity, because you don't want to do too much, burn out, whatever.
Right.
You know, and that's another conversation you have to have with yourself was, what am I capable of? Or what can I handle at this moment in time?
You know, and I suffer from learning disabilities and dyslexia. So like language is hard for me. English is hard for me. And just getting other languages, sentence patterns and structures down is brutal for me. So what might take somebody a week to get takes me like 8 months.
Yeah.
You know, my learning curve is just brutally slow. But like, you know, if I've gotten to the point where I am, like, I'm sure most people could get 10 times further in the amount and effort of time that I put into it.
Definitely. And people go at their own speed, you know? And, you know, we said this quote many times, comparison is the thief of joy, you know? So don't compare yourself to anybody else's journey.
No.
Everybody's on their own journey. Yeah, do it within your capacity. If you have 10 minutes to learn another language, awesome. If you have 30 minutes, great for you.
Right.
You know, but it's gonna come down to you. Don't blame your circumstances. Don't blame, you know, other people. It's all on you.
100%.
That's what I believe. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that. I want to know, when you were growing up in Idaho and Utah, what was the hardest part about like trying to figure out who you were and battling these insecurities as a Polynesian? Because we talk about it here as like growing up in Hawaii, not looking Hawaiian but being Hawaiian, or looking Hawaiian but not being Hawaiian. You know, all these like weird contrasts. So for you, because you're totally Polynesian. I look at you like, this is one Poly.
Right.
You know, you look at me like, he could pass for Mexican in California, you know? Yeah. I've been to New York, California, and people are like,
Puerto Rican?
No. Get his queso? I'm like, no, I don't want cheese. But
I got you. Like I said earlier, you know, when I was young, it was just hard because, like, you know, I was always misidentified as, you know, Hispanic, Native American, African American. You know, it never bothered me. But it was just kind of always a struggle to be Pacific Islander. So like, I was always so proud. So like anytime we had like an opportunity to do like a research project, I would always do it on some kind of Polynesian topic, even like low elementary. I remember we had to like make these little floats when I was in like 4th or 5th grade. So I made this big Tongan one, you know, and made like a warrior dude on it and talked about my lineage to, you know, our royal family. And I was so stoked on it. And I think it went over like all those kids' heads. But then I got to Utah, and, you know, I was still the token Tongan. You know, there's only a few of us at the school I went to, but there's so many Pacific Islanders there, and I had so much family there. My dad's like one of 12, and so, you know, his family's massive. And, you know, when I got there, it kind of flipped on me, because then all of a sudden I looked the part, but I didn't feel the part. And so I was always like embarrassed that I couldn't speak. And I still am. Oh my God, I still am. Because I'll go to all these functions and I have to go through these protocols with my dad, because the oldest son stuff. And like everyone's like giving their speeches in Tongan, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Kiliona," you know.
Good day.
Not even but I usually use my tongue. I'm Kalanite. And they're like, "That's all you have?" I'm like, "Malo lele." And it's embarrassing. And so I always struggled so much with that. But then, I would say the only positive side of being this in the Mountain West is the fetishization of Pacific Island men. It worked to my advantage in high school.
Is that how you're married right now?
To be honest, yes. My wife, when she was like 15, had her come to moment with The Rock, and she was like, "That's the man I want, that kind of man."
I love the honesty.
And then it turned to Jason Momoa, and then she saw me, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's a combination of the two." And just, she's not even poly. She's African American white, and just
hey,
it works.
What Kiliona is saying is 100% true, because as much as we want to be like, oh yeah, Hawaii's romanticized, Hawaii's commercialized, it's this tropical destination with beautiful people. People use it to their advantage. Tell me not when you go to college, you're not like, "Oh, I'm from Hawaii." And then the girls are like, "Oh, he's so exotic.
Right.
His name is Kekoa."
Right. But that exoticization, man, not trying to go off on a tangent, but that started with what is his name? With a French painter.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. So there was a French painter, and his name will come to me. And anyway, he like failed with his marriage, failed with his painting in Paris, and so he fled to Tahiti. And then he like married, like he pedophile style married like this like 12-year-old Tahitian girl, and then like used her as his muse and painted her in all these exotic pictures, and then sent those pictures back to Europe, and everyone was like, "The South Pacific is so grand, it's heaven on earth." And then everybody just started coming, and then they came to Hawaii too, and then the camera came out and they shot photos of Waikiki towards Leahi, Diamond Head, and everybody saw there was the image of that and the images from France. Or from Tahiti, and that's how the exoticization and the romanticism of our region came to be.
No way.
Yeah, it all came from this creepy painter.
Dang.
Yeah, and it's gonna drive me nuts. I can't remember his name right now.
It's all like, yeah. I don't even want to make up a name. I can't even. Wow. But see, this is what happens when you educate yourself. You know all these cool facts about our history.
You just forget the names of these people.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. I never heard of that before, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like, at least I try to keeping it Aloha to me is always just keeping it as real as possible. So we complain about all kinds of things unless it's benefiting us. And that's an example of like the exoticization of certain things, Right. Yeah. And the same like people, and I've said Hawaiian's not a party trick, being Hawaiian's not a party trick, but come on, we've all used it before. Like when I studied abroad or whatever, like the first thing I want to say is I'm from Hawaii, because I want people to think I'm cool, and that's just the reality of it.
I can't say I haven't used it. His Gogan was his name.
Gogan.
But anyway, yeah, man, I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah, and but
I look the part, so it's not hard.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just being aware of it and knowing your intention. Because before, when I was younger, there was just, I guess, very little awareness of like why I'm doing things. Even now, how I speak Hawaiian, like my dad always wants us to speak Hawaiian to him and my siblings, but we never do. I mean, to him, we always speak Hawaiian, but to my siblings, we don't speak Hawaiian, And then being aware of like trying not to only speak Hawaiian to each other if it's like our secret language. Like say we're out surfing or we're out in public and we want to say something about somebody, we're just like, "Oh, nana ikilakanaka," or whatever. We're like, we're like, in my head, I'm just like, I shouldn't be doing that, because, it's like, Hawaiian shouldn't be this secret language where I'm just like using it so other people don't know what I'm saying. Right. It should be used as a way of communication and like everyday language, not just be like talking behind somebody's back, So I'm aware of that. I fail all the time, but I'm aware of it. Right. So, I mean, that's a step.
And the other thing about just the way we look, we are a walking billboard of our people because so many people don't know us and don't meet us that often. We become the token version of all Pacific Islanders. And so we have a kuleana, like we have a responsibility everywhere we go to act and be in the best behavior because we are the one experience somebody might have with a Pacific Islander, and why leave them with a gross taste about us. And so, anywhere you travel in the world, they'll remember you. Oh, remember that Hawaiian guy? And you want it to be like, remember how creepy he was or how weird he was? Like, no, and I admit, like, I've acted fool before plenty of times, but, there's always that coming back and realizing that you have a responsibility to all of your people to be the best you can be, right?
Definitely. You know what's something that I don't think I've mentioned before is like one, I don't know if it's an insecurity, maybe you can help me work through this, is that when, so I leave Hawaii and I go somewhere and I'm around people from the continent who don't really understand Hawaii or seen Hawaiian people. So they automatically say, you're Hawaiian, you're Hawaii, you're like, oh, the Hawaiian kid. And they're like, I always feel like the need to explain myself, like, oh yeah, I'm Hawaiian, but these other things, but I don't really look Hawaiian, So I'm just like, this is not what like a Hawaiian looks like. So it's like I'm kind of like downplaying myself or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like I always have to be like, yes, I'm Hawaiian, but like I don't look like super Hawaiian. If you want to see an actual Hawaiian, like look at this person,
Yeah, I get that too.
I feel like I tend to do that a lot around other people.
See, for me, it's like the people would be like, you look like the token Polynesian. Take off your shoes and let's see if you have square feet like you do on Lilo and Stitch. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I don't think that people like you guys should have to do that. Like, just be unapologetically you. And people need to realize like nobody looks exactly the part really anymore. Everybody's mixed. And if they understood the history of this place, of migration coming here since really 1770, 78, after Cook and them and Metcalf and all those guys, when we got Davis and what was the other guy, Smith or whatever, it just became a melting pot quick. And then, the missionaries showed up and they brought all the labor from Asia, China, Japan, Philippines, Portugal, Mexico. We are a mixed people. And we have been a mixed people. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like only somebody that is insecure or somebody that still identifies with blood quantum are the ones that feel the need to express why they look, And I mean, we shouldn't have to. We really shouldn't, because we can all just be Hawaiian. I mean, bro, Abigail Kona no Koa, one woman that still recognizes herself as a princess, that woman looked holy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Holy.
Yeah.
And her nephew, that's, I guess, kind of the heir or whatever, bro, you look at that guy, you're like, bro, I don't see any, but like, he's still Hawaiian.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make him any less than me. I might look the part, but I know plenty of Hawaiians that look the part and don't act the part.
Yeah.
Watched a lady the other day driving home just drop all her opala out the window, and I was like, girl, you look so Hawaiian. Why are you dropping your rubbish on the road? So
that's the point that I was trying to get across in those viral videos is like, I don't want to use this word, like, I don't care. It's what matters more to me is how you're living than how you look, and like the blood quantum. That's like the message that 100%. I'm trying to say, because another guy messaged me, the guy, maybe he'll be on the podcast one day. I don't want to reveal his identity, but one guy I really like to follow. He's like, I'd rather have one guy who is not Hawaiian, that aloha aina, treats people right, does, you don't have to aloha Hawaii, but does like things that are just respectful to the culture and himself. I'd rather have him over the guy who's Hawaiian, who drinks green bottles and beats up his wife. Like that's a real reality that we have in Hawaii of those two different people.
It is. And I think that's something that, the only people that are going to get offended by that are the people that are that. And that should be a challenge to them to step up. What's your kuleana? It might not be being a full-on practitioner, but like, how do you give back to Hawaii? There's a Northeast American ideology that I learned at university that was the 7 generation ideal. And it was, what what are you doing now that's going to positively benefit 7 generations? You're like, why 7 generations? And I remember my kumu at the time was like, because it's a hell of a long time. But it's such a true concept. I think it was the Iroquois. I might be wrong. But if what you're doing in everyday life isn't positively, uplifting the 7 generations from now, if you're not doing something that uplifts them, then you're not doing the right thing. And so that means plant those trees, clean up that beach, malama the kalo, malama the ulu. And, is it building a skyscraper? Probably not. It's dismantling the skyscraper so we can get back to more Aina-based living. And it might not be a Hawaiian ideology, but it's an indigenous ideology, and I live by that. I try to live by that. I do plenty of things wrong. I say this as I still order things off Amazon and,
we all do.
But, it's just having that mindset that we're going to leave it better than we came into it. And that's what our own people need to remember is, if you're Hawaiian and you believe in our cosmology, Papana Moku's Earth Mother, why are you going to drop your trash on grandma? What a gross concept. Like, no, you're going to clean grandma up. You're going to take her to get her nails done, to get her hair done. You're going to love grandma. And I think a lot of our people have just been so westernized and and just colonized and assimilated to this idea that, no, it's just a rock, that we forget who we are. We forget that our ancestors died and literally became the soil that fed the kalo that we ate, that became us, only so we can turn around and die and become the soil for the next generation. When you think of it like that, man, every inch of this place is ancestors. It's more than just a rock. We're literally walking and living upon our own people. That's heavy.
Yeah, definitely. And whether you want to believe that or not, if you want to believe the, mythologies, there is truth to it.
Right.
And even if it's just like, it's a good idea. It's like a good thing to be like, same with like the breakdown of Aloha, the alo and the ha, whatever. Like, even if that's not true, it's nice to like, it's a nice sentiment.
Right.
Because it inspires us. And knowing that if I'm throwing this opala on the ground, it could be affecting my kupunas, my ancestors. Like, whether that's true or not, I still don't litter because I don't want to find out. It's like when we have these, like, don't whistle at night, don't walk under a ladder, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's like,
why do it if you don't have to?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to believe in it, but you can respect it.
Right. But that brings up another great point, and this is a point I was hoping to talk about anyway, is so many, because we're hitting this in education, is so many educators are fearful to teach our mo'olelo about our akua. And so many times we try to reiterate this idea that, like, look, we're not worshiping them. We're just honoring their legacy of existence. And I think what it comes from is this ignorance that people don't take the time to understand them, because a lot of times they don't want to compartmentalize, these indigenous ways, because they think it's somehow sacrilegious to their upbringings, their Christian identities. So what I would say is, we as indigenous people, we invented the akua, all na akua, the multitudes. What was the word they call it? Who taught you guys?
Anthropomorphism.
We personified these things. We created these beings into existence, because once we personify or anthropomorph things as a living entity, you care for it. If this plant behind me is a version of the god of the ocean, I'm going to take care of that. I'm not going to let it die. And so by literally making every rock, everything a living entity and giving it mana, that's how indigenous ways we make sure that it exists for 7 generations, and so on and so forth, for time immemorial. It wasn't until Western concept came that we started treating things like they were replaceable. And it's that idea that allowed us to let them take over Kaho'olawe and break it beyond ever being livable again. It's what allowed us to allow them to take Makua and make it unlivable, and take, Waimomi or Pearl Harbor and make it unlivable. Now, did we really have a choice? No, but it happened under our somewhat indigenous jurisdiction. I mean, we really didn't have a choice under colonialism, but I feel like there would have been a lot more of a fuss if our people still believed everything had mana, even if it really doesn't. You don't have to believe that Kane, Kanaloa, and Lono and all these people exist. You just need to understand that everything has a mana and care for it as such, even the smallest thing. I try to remember that all the time, because it makes me not crush that rock or step on that beetle, because it has a purpose, unless it's invasive. But, if we can get ourselves back to those ideas without having to think about religion involved, and just think about it as a way to just live in really peaceful way with Earth, we've succeeded.
Yeah. And the overarching theme of all of this is just respect.
Right.
Like,
just
when we talk about being Hawaiian, being whatever, we're just talking about being a good person.
100%.
We're just talking about respecting culture,
100%.
respecting what we believe in, respecting what other people believe in. We're just talking about respect at the end of the day.
100%. I completely agree. It's funny because, when you get on these topics, so many people get nervous about it because they think it conflicts with their religious views and ideals. And they don't understand how it coexists with their religious views and ideals.
Ku'ulei talked about that on her episode about Christianity and Hawaiian.
Right. See, and it's funny because she comes from a Christian lens and I come from a very non-Christian lens. But, so to hear the two, I guess it's not really a juxtaposition, but to hear the two differences is kind of an interesting concept, I suppose. If you listen to hers, it's a great one, by the way. You should go listen to it. But, it's just, sometimes our akua, we're real too. And people need to realize that, and we're not honoring them, we're continuing their stories. Like, I put my heart on it that Maui was a living entity. Maui was a real man. Did he lasso the sun? No. But just like the Bible, a lot of the stories weren't meant to be taken literal. They're just fables to teach lessons and teach morals and standards in life. What was he? To me, Maui was a master navigator, one of the first to do it. And because he was so profound at finding islands, he went down in history as the man that lifted islands out of the ocean and lassoed the sun and fought these giant eels and, XYZ. At the end of the day, no, man, that fool was just a genius celestial navigator.
Yeah.
That we just amplified up to become a demigod.
Yeah, and a lot of stories is over exaggerating. Look at it, the modern version is just that one uncle who said he surfed that 100-foot wave on the North Shore back in 1972. But it was firing. We've never seen a swell that big ever since then. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, and he probably was a hammer that surfed something. Maybe it wasn't 100-foot wave, whatever, but he was a hammer. 100%. So when we talk about these, we're just talking about hammers that people just created, over-exaggerated these stories to make it more believable.
Right, and you're talking 4,000 or 5,000 years of people retelling this story. Of course it's going to get
it's like that game, the game Telephone, where you start from the front, and then by the time it gets to somebody else, it's a completely different sentence.
Of course it's going to morph.
Yeah.
So...
I love it. Okay, so before we take a quick shishi break, I have so much to talk to you about. By the way, I'm having such a good time. Thank you. Where was I going? Before we take a shishi break, this is a very out of pocket question, all right? Because somebody asked me this and I didn't know how to answer it, because all I said was, that's a great question. And I feel comfortable with you to ask you this. So it's believed that Hawaiians came from a taro plant, right?
Yep. Haloa.
The first Hawaiian was Haloa, which was the stillborn baby. I mean, that was buried. Yep. Grew the first taro plant. Then the brother who survived
rubbed over it, malamaed it.
Yeah, exactly. So Hawaiians come from taro.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me. I'm not gonna say who it was because I don't want people to hate on this person. Because again, this is just hypothetical. Please, people, don't get angry or whatever. This is just conversation. They said, if Hawaiians came from a kalo. If we eat kalo, is that cannibalism? It's not a bad. I was like, I mean, you got a good point there.
I don't even know how to answer that.
I mean, same.
You know?
I mean, we're gonna say no, obviously, but I think
but
it's
a fabulous
food for
question.
thought, yeah.
You know, I've taught it so many years now, and I've never even thought of that.
Right?
I would say no, because the first baby I don't believe was born kalo. I believe he had enough celestial mindset, like heavenly knowledge, to know that there was no sustenance, that he gave this is how I believe it. He gave himself up to become the first sustenance. And so from his body grew out the first kalo. And it took its own form, and that's why it has the piko and the ieve back into Mother Earth, and then the corum becomes, the most edible part. But I wouldn't say it's cannibalism, because I don't think we evolved from kalo. He gave his body up, and then it became the nourishment for the first plant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I mean, same with so my dad, all of the kids, my nieces and nephews, he cuts their and he planted an ohia tree or whatever, and so every time we go home, he's like, oh, that's Kamaku's plant, oh, that's Sophie's plant, that's whatever.
Well, funny, because you want to know who the hammer was that we brought that back?
Oh,
Kalehua.
No way.
He took it to court and won, because they didn't want to give it, I believe, to his oldest daughter. They didn't want to give him her placenta, her ieve.
Oh,
so
really?
He fought it, and I believe he was the reason that we all can legally do it again.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool, because my dad does that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it with us, but definitely our nieces and nephews.
Right.
Wow,
Because I think
so
under
cool.
our age, we weren't legally allowed.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
makes sense. I gotta go tell him that. But yeah, that was please don't chop this part up and cancel me for asking that question. Valid question though.
It is a valid question.
Yeah, I mean, just for fun.
But other cultures do the same. Like kava, ava.
Mm-hmm.
In Tonga, ava was said to have come from a husband and wife that lived on the little island, and they had a daughter, and they literally had nothing to offer the king who was there, and so they literally killed their own daughter and put her in the imu, and then the king was like, no, we can't. That's too sacred.
Mm.
And so they blessed her. So I can't remember the full story, but ultimately, from her feet grew the ava. That's why it's bitter. And then from her upper body grew, I believe, the ko. And that's why you have ko, sugarcane, with ava, because it helps combat the
balances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
But even then, you could say it's cannibalism, but no, it's a gift of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it.
Yeah. In Madagascar, one of the rituals or practices is when you do circumcision, they have their circumcision, the season for the babies. They cut the foreskin, and the uncle's supposed to eat it or something.
Yeah,
like that.
a lot of cultures do that. A lot of cultures do that.
Yeah, so it's cool to hear all these different
All right.
cultural practices. Yeah, we're not the only unique one that has all these things.
No. Not even close.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick shishi break, and we'll be right back. Immerse yourself in the underwater wonders of Hawaii's marine life with Hawaii Ocean Charter's hands-on guided snorkeling tours. Whether it's your first time falling in love with Waikiki or you're rediscovering its beauty just like me, there is no better way to see it than from the ocean. Personally, it was one of the best things I have done this year. I got to snorkel with some turtles and fishes, and I was able to catch the coolest sunset over the water. Conveniently located in Kaka'ako with online booking and live availability, finding the perfect day on the water couldn't be easier with them. Ride in style on their unique and well cared for power catamaran that offers all the amenities you need. Locally owned and operated, their friendly crew lives for sharing their love for the ocean with others. Sunset cruises, guided snorkeling tours, whale and dolphin watching, coastal sightseeing, and fireworks shows are among the tours their guests love the most. Use code KIA50 to get $50 off of your next charter. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. What did you just say? Shaka Tea. Shaka Tea, Malator, our drink sponsor, Shaka Tea for the Shaka Tea. All right, let's get into the social media fan questions presented by Texco in Hawaii. Usually I just have a couple questions, but we got so many good questions. I'm going to read almost all of them.
I feel humbled, man, that people wanted to pick
No,
me up.
honestly, even people who are famous, they don't always get a lot of questions,
I'm just a school teacher, guys.
Yeah, just you got a lot of questions. So it just shows how much people respect your opinion.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, factual opinions is what I like to call them. I said, don't listen to anything we say. Take it or leave it. It's all just opinions that are based on facts.
There you go.
Okay. First question comes from Malia Lani. This person says, how do you recommend Kanaka living at home can stay inclusive for a diaspora?
Can stay inclusive?
Yeah, stay inclusive. So I'm going to guess the people here, how do we include the people who are
Outside.
going through diaspora?
You know, I think it's just honestly allowing them in the conversations. You know, if it's things that have to do with Hawaii that are community meetings or family meetings, it's having an option for Zoom for them to be able to dial in and give their 2 cents. I think it's cultural practitioners creating more workshops in large Hawaiian diasporic places so that Hawaiians living out of Hawaii have opportunities to feel Hawaiian and take courses in hula and ipu or lauhala or whatever course it is in the States. I think it's welcoming people home. I think it's taking the initiative to house people and host people when they come and setting up ways that they can see more than just the stereotypical Hawaii, but give them that cultural root that they need to really embed themselves back in. And lastly, what I did is I literally created what I dreamed of. And that was creating platforms that educated Hawaiians on Pacific Islanders on our culture, our history, of questions and things that I just wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you have a wealth of knowledge, share it. Don't allow like 5 of us to be only content creators. Like there's so many people that know so much. It's like if you literally just made a little podcast or even just a TikTok page or Insta page where you just tell mo'olelo or tell stories or tell Hawaiian history or whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be cool history. You just be like, oh, you know, I learned that uncle opened up the shop over there in the 1920s and he was from Japan. Like people want to know those things. Mm-hmm. Like I live Waianae. I want to know the history of Waianae because I'm not from Waianae. Mm-hmm. So whenever I learn those things, it's like, oh, it's groundbreaking. Mm-hmm. So it's just giving them that, you know, giving them what they can't have by being here. And if that's a social media platform to just be educated, then that's what it is. And I hope that's what my platform is.
Yeah. And I think you inspire people to hopefully move here and come back to the motherland at some point because you did it.
That's the dream.
You know, you did it. You didn't grow up with a lot. You took action. You made the sacrifices. You took initiative to come here.
I'll give the truth on that 100%. When I moved back to Hawaii, my girlfriend at the time said, hon, I want to go to Hawaii for grad school. And at that time, I didn't even have my undergrad. And I was like, I want to go there for my undergrad. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. I hung up on her. I called my job and I said, I quit. I packed up everything I had and I drove it back to Utah, stuck it in a storage, and I had $600 to my name. I flew over here. I slept on my auntie's guest bed for like 2 weeks. I found a job and I put ourselves on our feet. My wife flew over with like $1,200 and my auntie loaned us a little money. Paid her back immediately, but we came with nothing, literally nothing. And I had nothing other than a couple albums, music albums, and training in how to make food. And from that, we went from living in like literally a studio where I could hold hands with her on the toilet from the bed to owning a home. And both of us having graduate school degrees and being okay. I wouldn't say we're comfortable. I work a lot to make ends meet, but if I can do it, and I hate the cliche of you can do it, but like really, you can do it. Yeah. If you want to be here, you can be here. It takes a sacrifice and it takes lots of really crappy meals and not eating some days, but you can do it.
Mm-hmm. No, I thoroughly believe that is that you might not have it as hard as other people, but people have it harder than you. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a great childhood. You know, we didn't grow up rich or anything. We didn't grow up with money. I, you know, went on my own journey to explore the world. I paid for my own college, paid for everything. Everything I have, I've done it on my own, you know. Right. But I've always had a good support system. And that doesn't mean money. Right. You know, support doesn't always just mean financial.
Yeah.
I just had encouragement. I had approval from, people in my life.
Anybody want to move back to Hawaii and need that encouragement and need help finding work, honestly, DM me, because that's my mission, is to re-indigenize Hawaii. And that's the biggest way that we can decolonize it, is by re-indigenizing it and bringing our Kanaka back. There's over 58% of us living outside now, 50-something, And there's more Hawaiians outside Hawaii than in Hawaii. There's more Hawaiians in Las Vegas today than in the entire island of Maui.
That's mind-blowing. When I saw that fact, I was like, wait.
Heartbreaking.
It's one of those things you see, you're like, this can't be true. There's no way there's more Hawaiians outside of Hawaii than there are here.
Not only do we need to bring you home, we need to teach you how to malama the land so that you can garden and become less dependent on resources that are, capitalistic, that keep us in the system. But we need to indigenize our diets and indigenize the way we eat by growing food. And if you can't grow where you live, connect with the farm nearby so you can go and do the volunteer hours and bring home vegetables and things every week. So there's ways to do it.
Yeah. Oh, this is actually a great time to announce that I started a nonprofit with some people called Hawaiian. I think by the time this comes out, we might have already launched our intro video, but it's an agricultural nonprofit based on forest pillars: preservation, restoration, sustainability, and education. And basically, we just want to grow Native Hawaiian plants, educate people on, these indigenous practices and modern and traditional practices, because I believe that we can bridge the gap and use both as well,
Right.
So, Hawaiian, if you guys, we're raising our first fund. We're doing our first fund round of donations and fundraising. So check us out on hawaiiana.org.
It's exciting, man.
Small little plug right there. But everything you say it is so true. And just from my perspective as somebody who grew up here, it's not that I don't think about people in the diaspora. It's just like, we're so involved in our own lives here that it's not that I don't care about people in the diaspora. It's just like we're not thinking about them because we're like so involved with everything over here.
But I think this podcast is made for the diaspora too. Like, this is everything that they want to hear.
Yeah, and I'm doing that unknowingly.
Exactly, like, and that's the beauty of it.
It's the I get messages saying like, I'm living in Nevada, and your podcast helps me connect. I'm living in wherever, and I'm just like, that was never the intention. This is all just like a personal journey of me asking genuine questions, like how you do your platform. It's
but
like
everybody wants to know these things,
and
especially them.
Yeah, but now it's like, because I get all these messages, and especially from like a couple weeks ago when everybody came out of the woodworks to be like, hey, what about me? What about me? I'm not Hawaiian enough. Like, I'm not saying you're not Hawaiian enough, but it's like, it made me really aware of how much insecurity there are in people in Hawaii and outside of Hawaii.
Right.
It's not just me. It's not just me.
Bro.
And then there's levels. There's deep levels to it.
I fight the insecurities every day too. We all do. And they call it imposter syndrome, yeah? Dude, it stopped me from starting my own platform for about 3 years. I just held all the ike of all the things I learned in, and finally one day I was like, you know what? Screw it. I wanted to hear this and no one told me, so I'm going to put it out there, for other people to hear, because there's got to be somebody else that wants to know this too. And it turned out there was a few people that did. I mean, my platform's not huge, but like, there's still a few people that enjoy it.
After this, it might be.
I hope so.
Hey, you guys got to follow.
But like, that's such a big deal to just get past the imposter syndrome and get a thicker skin and just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. And then my message is to the people in the diaspora is, we care about you. Like, Hawaiian, we're all Hawaiian. We're all Hawaiian together, no matter where you live. If you speak the language, if you don't speak the language, if you're able to practice hula, oli, whatever it is, we're all connected.
Right.
Same with the Hawaiian Islands. I don't know the people on Maui going through the wildfire. I don't know them. I don't hurt because of the fire, but I hurt for them.
Right.
Because we're all connected by the blood, whether you have 50%. Or 5%.
Somewhere in our
we're connected.
We align.
It's like you don't always see the moon every night, but it's there.
Right.
I don't always think of the people in the diaspora, but just know that I'm there for you.
I'll leave it at this and we can move on. when it comes to our diasporic people that want to know how they can keep being Hawaiian, like I said, find the sources, find the resources. DM me if you don't know. Ulukawa is a good one. Oiwi TV is a great one. But the most important thing you got to do is realize, like I said earlier, we come from the land. We are the land. Your kino, your body is literal aina. You are a literal walking piece of Hawaii. No matter how much or how little Hawaiian you are Hawaii. So the most important thing you can do is malamo kokino, care for your own body. I know that sounds dumb, but like it's truth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, totally. What is the greatest form of love? Self-love.
Right. And the American system thought we'd be an extinct race by the 1960s, and guess what? We're still here.
Still here.
So take care of yourself so there can be more of us.
Yes, totally agree. I love that. Yeah. Okay. Last thing before we move on is I also said that in my video. I said aloha yourself, aloha others. But I said like 5 different things, but everybody just want to focus on the aloha Hawaii.
Of course they do.
All right. Okay, we'll move past it. All right, next question comes from Brooke.lealoha. What are your greatest hopes and wishes for Kanaka of the future?
That we re-indigenize Hawaii, we come home, and my greatest hope is that we can get America to allow us our sovereignty back, because I truthfully don't think that Hawaii will ever become a better place until we have the jurisdiction to govern it in a way that we see fit. And the way we see fit is rooted in Malama Aina.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think that change comes from? Politics?
Educating the masses, getting us into the politics, getting us to become the legislators, the lawmakers, being the people that end up becoming the governors and the mayors and, running this place, becoming the senators. We won't see change until we see ourselves in the seats. And the hardest part is we make up less than 20% of Hawaii. So if we are not the people making the laws, we at least need to educate non-Hawaiians that become the politicians to think Hawaiian.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because right now we got a governor and a mayor here that aren't from here, but have the audacity to think that they know how this place should be run better than any of us.
Yeah. Realistically, how far away do you think we are from that?
I mean, I couldn't tell you. We've been dreaming of this since the overthrow. I think we are further ahead now than we were 40 years ago, because at least we've legalized Olelo Hawaii. We've legalized lots of cultural ways and practices that we never had before, for years, I should say. We've been able to educate the truth. We have social media now to massively push it. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I really couldn't say. I mean, I would hope in the next 20, 30 years, but at this point, I'm 37, almost 37 in a couple days, and I really just hope that it happens in my lifetime.
Yeah. But even if it doesn't, hopefully we leave it better for the next 7 generations.
That's why I'm a teacher, because I'm raising hammers.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. All right. I wanted to comment on one more thing about what you just said. We, unfortunately, like a sad realization that I had, like when election season was here, like was that a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, is that we are the loud minority. Like, yes, we want all these things to change, but like Hawaii's run by the silent Asians.
Yeah.
Like that, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody and they were educating me, like, how come BJ Penn seemed like he had so many supporters and very loud on social media? It's the loud minority.
Yeah.
And it's the quiet Asians who are voting Democrat, who like, like things to go the way it's been for a long time. Yeah. And I could just be kind of like generalizing, but like that's kind of like what I understood from whenever somebody told me this.
I don't know enough about it, but it seems to be when I look at it, but
yeah, somebody like correct me or tell us exactly what it is, but this place is run by majority, like
most definitely.
Yeah.
I would agree. Chinese, Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah. They literally came from the fields, indentured labor, and worked their way up and educated themselves and built up their own business to be powerhouses. And honestly, it's admirable in a lot of ways, because the people that came here weren't the high society people from home. They were the labor workers, and they literally built themselves up to become these powerhouse business people in Hawaii. And I guess in a colonial mindset, and I guess a capitalistic mindset, like, bro, that's success. But when it comes to indigeneity,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's super interesting. We always hate on the haole, that's why. On the white man.
Right. It's not just the white man. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. Just some food for thought. Next question comes from Avadada. This person says, what does he think of the oceanfront homeowners on North Shore trying to save their home? Too bad, so sad? Or CNC should do more?
Honestly, the majority of those people that own those homes have only owned them for a decade or two. And you buy by the beach, you should know better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth of the matter. You live by the ocean, you know the ocean is relentless, and land is always being devoured by by Kanaloa. It is what it is. You see it all over the world. And regardless of sea level rise, you're going to get big swells. And in, a matter of time, this island will have shifted to where Kauai is, and Kauai will be up by Nihoa, and erosion just happens. Like, it's the name of the game. So to be honest, I say it's your fault. You did it. Unless it was a generational house you inherited, you're a fool.
Too bad, so sad.
Yeah,
then.
I mean, you knew better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that saying, you can't complain there's too much food on your plate when your goal was to eat.
Right.
And if you knew the risk going into that, you wanted to live on the beach.
Like I said, unless it's a generational house that was passed down to you, I really don't feel too bad.
Okay. Yeah. No. Hey, honest. All right. Next question comes from Hawaiian Diaspora. This person says, as someone who was raised diaspora, what's your advice for Kanaka born and raised currently living on the continent who feel insecure about moving to Hawaii? You touched on it a little bit.
I mean, just don't.
Yeah.
Don't feel insecure. This is your birthright. Like, Hawaii is your birthright. I don't care if you don't identify with a lot of your Hawaiian culture. There's room to. But I will leave that with a caveat, and that is this. Do not move home if your intention is just to live home. Move home if you're willing to come back and give back. Because if not, you're just going to continue this colonial lifestyle that we see decimating our land and our culture already. We want people coming home, and I might be biased, but people that want to uplift the lahui and the aina, people that want to take classes and relearn to be Hawaiian, re-indigenize themselves with Hawaii. I mean, that's my biased opinion. It's already an overpopulated place. So if you want to move home, and you are Hawaiian, come home. But realize if you're coming home for, selfish reasons and not reasons that include everything and everybody, maybe it's not right for you yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. What are you adding? What value are you adding? Are you going to take or are you going to give?
Right.
Because
we are village people, and village people support the village. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have anything to support this village, then you're taking from the village.
Yeah. And that makes you just like everyone else that comes here, no matter what their blood is.
And that goes for everybody else too. We have so much malihini that move here and say, I was called and beckoned to Hawaii, spiritual guidance to there. And I'm like, no, it didn't. You wanted it because you selfishly wanted to be here, so you just made it happen. Mm-hmm. And to that, it's the same thing. Like, so many people come and they just take, and they call it like the culture vulture mindset. Mm-hmm. And it's like, bro, I know so many people that move to Hawaii that give back to Hawaii so much. Like, I won't call him by name. Truthfully, I don't remember his name, but there's a man on Lanai, and everybody in Lanai knows him because he's a haole teacher there. That fool is more Hawaiian than me. He moved to Hawaii when he was like 11 or 12. Bro, hammer, this guy. So knowledgeable, so well taught. He taught himself so much ike of Hawaii that he's just profound. Knows the plants, knows the culture, knows the land, knows how to malama aina, builds hale, like just a hammer. Helps us with Iwi Kupuna workshops with the Hawaiian Church of Hawaii that I work with. And those are the people we want. That's the Hawaii people we want. You don't have to be Hawaiian to live here, but I say it all the time. Do not expect Hawaii to assimilate to you. If you move to Hawaii, assimilate to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the biggest problem is people come here, they try to make it like where they came from instead of just like you said, adjusting to everything that we have here.
Right.
That's the biggest
Don't
problem.
come Hawaii and change Hawaii. You wanted to live here because you love it.
Yeah.
So love it and be it.
Yeah.
You know? What's Hawaii without Hawaiians?
Nothing. Love it. Next question comes from kahana.hawaii.real.estate.
I love Kahana.
Okay. My one thing is I just want to say, I don't know if you need that many dots. You could have just said Kahana Hawaii Real Estate. I don't think there's a Kahana Hawaii Real Estate. All the dots it's excessive, all right? I'm just joking. All right. Kahana.hawaii.real.estate says, how has living/being the culture changed your relationship? Wait. How has living/being the culture changed your relationships with others? It's a good question.
You know, he called me out of the blue last night. He was an old coworker and he's an ex-LDS and was going through a really hard time trying to just find himself, in his late 30s. And so many people do that and they lose like spiritual guidance and then they're just lost for a while in this limbo of who am I? And I remember he was going and trying to find himself in yoga and meditation and all these other cultures. And I called him. I was like, bro, find yourself in us before you try to find yourself in other people's culture. At least try us first. Learn these 2 chants. I told him, learn eho mai and na'omokua. Do it all the time. Whenever you need guidance, whenever you need spirituality, whenever you need anything, just ask our ancestors. And this man literally, he took me literally. Most people don't. And he found a kumu. He did it all, man. He was calling me last night. And he was like, bro, there's Hawaii Lona everywhere. He just seemed so grounded and so rooted. And bro, I was like about to cry hearing him talk. Bro, this is what I want to hear. This is what I want. And it's that. It's becoming, and I didn't know I was. And I want to stay humble about it. But I didn't know that I had become a beacon for other people to look for as a guiding example of somebody that has found a pathway of culture and identity and just unapologetically rolled with it. And it's made me so much more rooted with my family, with some of my family, I will say, not my extended because they think I'm a fraud because I'm not Hawaiian enough, but like my mom and my dad, bro, all the time, my siblings, I'm so proud of you. Mm-hmm. My mom all the time, we went and helped with Maui and she was like, this is the most memorable experience I've ever had. And like she cried and we hugged and she was like, thank you. And if I wasn't so devoted to the lahui, I wouldn't have taken the time to go over there and do the work that I did. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just trying to make it a point to say, I'm so rooted in our people that I will sacrifice what I need to do to better our people. And having my mom take days off work to do it with me was the most beautiful thing because I never bonded more with my family in my life. And I cherish the time we were driving around, sweating our asses off, making sure that people had what they needed. And it was just such a beautiful moment to experience lately a labor of love together like that. And so all I will say is, it's made me closer to the people I love, closer to my community. It's rooted me in a kuleana that I know I have a responsibility now to the people of Oceania and the people of the Pacific. And lastly, it's given me a purpose for living.
Mm. Oh, that's beautiful. Mahalo for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh. Definitely going to take down to heart. Next question comes from Liz_Jeddes. Geddes. Jeddes. Geddes. Liz_Geddes. Okay. Sorry if I said your name incorrectly, my bad. If you could make any kind of movie about Hawaii, when and where would you set it? It's a good question. I thought that was a really cool question.
That's a heavy question because I want to highlight so much of our history, but I'm like, who? So like, I mean, if my history nerd self is gonna definitely choose like some hammer like Kahikili, just because he was so dope and so knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. But I really don't know because like now, Then I think about it, I'm like, it's not about amplifying our history. We have enough. I think it's about amplifying our cry. So to be honest, I would probably I'd probably make the movie about our struggles in modern times, of being wiped away and washed away and being exoticized and forgotten at the same time. And being an illegally occupied nation, I think I'd really amplify those topics and really get people around the world to understand how we were occupied and just how wrong it was. You know what I mean? At least do like a little flashback in the movie.
I was just thinking that.
To kind of show that, you know.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a real modern TV show about like the struggles, almost like a documentary.
Right, and then it just sucks you back in time to show you how we got to here and why it's this way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the guy's starving, but he lives right by the water. But the water's poisoned because these Navy ships always come in. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would love to see like the time when all the Western influences started to come in from Hawaii. Like I know Kalakaua got a lot of like a backlash for like all his innovative ideas and how he would travel to other places. I would love to just see like what was going on in his mind, because like I feel like I relate to him because I'm so like I love our culture so much, but I'm so interested in the rest of the world as well, and I want to be able to like combine everything.
That was the very reason he was elected, though. Remember, because the Haole elected him, even though Emma won by the majority. They put him through the ledge, so he shouldn't have won. He won because he was Western thinking. But I will say this about Kalakaua that made me like him, because for a while I was like, he's kind of the puppet. But one thing that I really liked about him was his travels. And the main thing I really liked about him was the fact that he tried to make an oceanic confederacy of nations. And he sent delegates to Tonga, and they were kind of cocky. So the Tongans were like, bro, get out of here, you snooty Hawaiians. But the Samoans signed up, man. And Kiribati, I think it was Kiribati, signed up too. And other nations were on board and ready to sign up to create this big confederated nation of Oceania. And imagine what could have happened if we could have united our islands. Maybe we could have stopped a lot of colonialism. Ultimately, it was stopped because the Germans in Samoa stopped us from ever docking on. That could have been sick.
Yeah.
So forward thinking, man. That guy knew things were happening.
Yeah. No, I'm just like interested in like, so how like the Iolani Palace had electricity before the White House because when he traveled, he met Thomas Edison and stuff like that. So he brought it back.
Alexander Graham Bell and put in the TV, the telephone. Yeah.
And then just like even like the relationship with the British. That's why I said in the beginning why we have the Union Jack inside of the Hawaiian flag. I'm just interested in like seeing the process of all that, like how it happened.
So many people online will argue, like, "Wow, if it wasn't for us, you guys wouldn't be using telephones." And
I know,
the iPhone.
right?
You're so stupid. Give us the technology, and anybody's going to use the technology. Tonga still Tonga. They got iPhones too. But at the end of the day, you have to be an absolute fool to not progress with the evolution of technology. Unless your culture is just like, we're sticking to our roots and that's it. And I respect the hell out of people like that, like those Upper Papuan villages and all that. Like, do it, if that's you, do it. But like, we were an advancing nation, an illiterate nation,
the most
illiterate nation in the 1880s era. So why wouldn't we advance with technology and still be able to be us? There's no reason we couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such an interesting time, like changing of times.
Right.
Okay, next question comes from Nick.S.Den.
Dean?
D-E-N, Den.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. What can be done to preserve oceanic culture?
What can be done to preserve it?
Yeah.
Pass it on, teach it, educate more people about it. Share cultural stories and videos on social media, read more and pass on more books of our people and movies and documentaries of our people, make more documentaries of our people. Honestly, anything and everything that perpetuates us in any way that gets it into more people's hands, do it. You know what I mean? How many times you scroll past a video, you don't even like it? Do you realize the algorithm, when you just like it, makes more people see it. If you liked a video that was content of Oceania, then actually double click that like so that the algorithm feeds it to more people. Leave a stupid comment, even if it's just a fist, even if it's a praying hands, it gets it to more people. You know what I mean? If that's all you're going to do, then just be that person.
Dang, you're calling me out, all right.
But
I'm so bad at liking things.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I'll watch it. I mean, I don't scroll too much. I like post and get off. But sometimes I'll see something and I'll just like go off and I'm like, I should have liked that. So sometimes I literally go back and give it a like just because I'm like, I need to support.
Sometimes it's just as small as that. And other times, man, it's go read books about us. And tell other people about books about us.
Yeah.
And buy people gifts that are books about us. So that our native scholars are getting money and getting that knowledge and notoriety from their publishers.
Yeah.
That we are worthwhile.
When it comes down to education, like you were talking to me the other day about how the relationship between Micronesia and Hawaii. Do you want to touch upon that real quick?
I mean, it's realizing that we're all united. We weren't disconnected as a Pacific until Westerners came and literally wrote colonial lines dividing us by demographic things. Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesia. Those aren't even terms of Austronesian descent. Like I believe they're like Latin or something. I don't know. Even Pacific. Pacific means calm and tranquil. That wasn't even given to us by us. That's a Spanish gave us that term. It's things like that. And it's re-indigenizing it. But then I get the argument from Pacific Islanders of, well, then pick a Polynesian name, and it's like, dude, Peli Hau'ofa, Oceanic scholar, he just said Oceania because it's all of us. If we name it just the Hawaiian term, what about the Maori? What about the Samoans? What about the Tokelauans? What about the Niueans, right? What about the Solomon Islanders? So Oceania is a Eurocentric word that kind of decolonizes it in a sense and gives it to all of us. But, to go with that, I did want to touch on some issues because in Hawaii there's a lot of bias and prejudice against the Micronesian community, and I think it's just from a blatant ignorance of people not understanding how and why they're here. So to give you the quickest version, in the 1940s and 50s, America started testing nuclear weapons in Marshall Islands, an island called Bikini, and it had about 200 people living on it. And one day these guys show up, and they've Christianized them already, and they said, "Hey, God told us that He needs this land to practice with or something, and you need to leave, but you can come back." But they never told them when. So they were like, "Oh, if God said it, we'll go." So this whole village ups and leaves their indigenous lands. They've been there for 1,000+ years. And America just starts bombarding it with nuclear weapons. And they drop this Bravo shot on there that literally destroys this island and sends nuclear fallout that blows over the rest of a lot of the Marshall Islands and contaminates the people in the soil. And so they started having things like jelly babies, or like babies literally were born looking like jellyfish, like just mutant thing. It's sad as hell. And so the rest of Micronesia saw this and they said, "What the hell? No nuclear weapons through our land." And America said, "You want to bet?" And so one by one, America went to to the Confederate States of Micronesia and to like Palau even, and bullied them, like literally bullied them into allowing nuclear weapons and nuclear machines through their EEZ, which EEZ is their water zones. They're like legal water zones. So now our ships and our bombs could go through their lands and their waters. And they said, "We'll make you a deal." It started, I believe, in 1986, the COFA, Compact of Free Association. They said, "We'll give you guys X amount of money and we'll allow you guys to live in the United States and you can use our healthcare and such." It wasn't as good as normal healthcare, blah, 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 but whatever. And a lot of them said, "Hey, heck yeah, it's a way off the rock." And so a lot of the nations signed up for that reason, but like Palau said, hell no, they fought it. It wasn't until some people were getting assassinated, like leaders were getting assassinated, that they finally had to, the vote finally went in favor of allowing nuclear weapons. But the reason there's so many Micronesians here, honestly, is because America bullied them into allowing nuclear weapons in their waterways. And that's the fact of the matter.
Mm-hmm. So now they just send them to Hawaii, just like how America sends homeless people one-way tickets.
Well, they don't send them here. They could go anywhere. But like, you're from the islands. Why the hell are you going to go to Iowa?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If island life is what you know, you're going to go to the only island that's part of America.
So they came here by choice, not because they were forced to come to
Oh,
Hawaii?
no, they can go anywhere they want.
Then why did they? It's just because it was so tropical.
Yeah. And it's still close to home. And there's a diasporic population. It's like the second largest Micronesian population that I know of, and I could be wrong, is at this Tyson chicken facility. Like 2 dudes went over something and realized it was a lucrative industry to work, and they're like called all their family. And so like one by one, all these Micronesians ended up, I think it's like Indiana or some random place. There's like a Tyson factory in a small town, and there's literally a Micronesian center for them and like community.
Wow.
Like crazy in the middle of America, but it's all because of the COFA agreement.
Wow.
So,
did you hear about the theory with SpongeBob?
yeah, it's a nuclear sponge from
Yeah.
Bikini Bottom.
Yeah,
It makes,
and it's because of that, because
And that's
of the
how the
bombing,
bikini
and that's
got-
why they're mutated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how Bikini got its name too.
Yeah, Bikini Bottom, Bikini Atoll.
Because a French dude was designing a 2-piece swimsuit and wanted an exotic name, and sure enough, he saw the bomb go off and said, "Ooh, bikini, that's exotic," and it became the 2-piece suit.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. All right. Next question comes from Ea Kavika. If you lived in ancient Hawaii, what job or kuleana do you think you would have had? Another great question. Yeah, people are, see, now you know why I had to ask all of it. It's
I
such a
love
great
these.
question.
I love these.
I couldn't leave any out.
Most people would say an ali'i, but I won't, because that has so much responsibility, and you have very strict lifestyles of everything: who you love, what you eat, how you live. And if you're not a good leader, they just kill you. Like, it's not a superior position. To be honest,
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Can I guess first
yeah,
what I think you'd be? And then you have to guess what I'd be.
okay,
Okay. I think you'd be like a kahuna.
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Nice.
I would like to be a kahuna. I
Awesome.
would say
I wouldn't be a warrior for sure.
For you, that's not hard, man. I would want to say something like a mahiai, but I could also see you like pushing towards ali'i.
No. I think I'd be like a kukini or something.
Okay.
Something
okay.
like not physical. Like I didn't like fighting because
Yeah.
I don't like violence
Okay,
and
okay.
conflict and stuff. And especially if I was in elite, I think I'd be too indecisive. So like I don't know if I could make the hard
right.
decisions. I think something like more of a lone wolf kind of thing. Whereas like kukini, you're just like by yourself delivering messages and like you're helping people in a sense.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I was from Kavika. Ao?
Yeah, Kavika. That's
Oh,
the
yeah, Kavika.
Instagram name.
I was like, the tattoo? Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think for people that don't know, he guessed right. I would want to be a priest of some sort. And the reason being is they're the middle ground. They have a bit of status. They're above the makainana. They're spiritual leaders, but they actually dictate the eli'i and the mo'i. They dictate the chiefs because the chiefs always have to look to them as like the counselors or like the what do they call that in America? The president has his cabinet. Yeah, they're like the cabinet. So I like that because there's like a lot more room for error. You really have to mess up to like get screwed over.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
What was like the outcast of like the hierarchy within all of those things?
Ooh.
Or like the the trailblazer, the one that kind of was like doing their own thing. It's like if you watch a movie, or if this is a movie, it was like that one weird kid that was like always working on like weird science project, but at the end of the movie, that weird science project just saved like the whole Lahui or something.
I mean, if it came to kahuna, I would say Molokai were hammers because they were like the dark sorcery, and everybody was just scared of Molokai. But I would say when it came to ending the conquest and carnage of Kamehameha's line, I would say Waianae Kahuna.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that literally like told him all the wrong times to go. And that's why he never got to Kauai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It'd be kind of interesting if somebody made like a comparison chart of like what a modern person is compared to like what they would be back in the day. Like what would a hipster be? What would like a businessman be? What would a like a doctor be? I mean, I guess a doctor would be a doctor. But like something like that, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
that'd be funny.
That'd be kind of interesting, huh? Yeah. All right. Next question. Oh wow, I didn't even plan this. Next question comes from Kahuna_touch. It was a Ho'ailona Kahuna right there.
How about that?
Are Hawaiians and Maori cultures vastly different, or is it similar? For instance, does the Maoris have a rich culture similar to kahuna massage?
I can't speak about massage, but very much so. They have a rich culture. I mean, I would say in a lot of ways richer than us and more intact. Um, I would also say that they have similar leverages of duties and obligations and jobs that kahuna practitioners would. You know, you're only a kahuna of one thing. Same thing, you know, you dictate where hell or this kind of, you know, luakini are built and only luakini. You only focus on, you know, cool. You know, there's different lines like that for sure. To be honest with you, I've been so disconnected with my Maori line that I couldn't tell you the intricacies of Maori culture and speak to these people on a level that is, you know, accurate. So I really won't try. So I apologize for not having a complete answer for that.
There's nothing wrong with I don't know. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned in life is being okay with I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's because a lot of it's ego, right? It's like you don't want to pretend like, or you don't want to show people that you don't know something, right? And
Right.
that comes with learning languages a lot. Like
Of course.
if you're learning language and people are talking to you and you're still beginning, a lot of times you just say, hi,
Yep.
see,
Yep.
see, you kind of just nod and like, oh, yeah. Do you understand? You're like, yeah. Because you don't want to say like, oh, sorry, can you repeat that, whatever?
Right.
So yeah, it's totally, I don't know, a totally fine answer. You know what I was thinking about when you said that? I was like, I wish our politicians could do that. I don't know enough about this culture to make a decision to answer this correctly, right? Imagine how
Right.
much more they'd be respected.
Right. If they just a little less narcissistic and
Oh
real.
yeah, I'm from the continent. I don't know much about the Hawaiian culture to make decisions for the Hawaiian people.
God, that would be nice.
Yeah, right? Why don't I ask somebody who knows more?
Right.
If only we lived in a perfect world. But yeah, that's something hopefully you'll learn, this person will learn, and
Yeah.
hopefully
Now
find
I
answers.
want to go learn.
Yeah. Okay, I got two more questions. Inner Sai, I think this is Snick. This person follows me and he did a tarot reading on me a couple weeks ago because he has like a tarot thing. I've never done anything like that before, but he offered it for free. So
Scared of that stuff.
Yeah, I did. It was super cool. This person says, do you have any spiritual or paranormal experiences in Hawaii? Gotta keep it weird.
Not in Hawaii. I haven't yet in Hawaii that have been profound. I've had a lot in the continent. So like, I was telling you when we were setting up, like my sister kicked me down a set of stairs and it actually killed me. It stopped my heart when I was really little. And then after that, I started having lots of paranormal things throughout my life, from experiencing a gunshot that killed my dad's best friend. I felt him dying, to having cigarette butts put out in my hotel my hotel toilet when nobody was in our room, to having a doorknob open by itself at the Winchester house to a closet that nobody was in. To being chased by something through the Death Valley desert to our tour van, something that wasn't there. So yeah, I've had a few experiences, but to be honest, nothing in Hawaii.
Dang, that's wild. So you've been here for probably
About a
like over 10
decade.
years, yeah?
About a decade.
So still got some time.
Yeah, I still got some time.
Hey, there's a set of stairs over there. I can try to kick you down if you like. Try to recreate them, you know?
Might be a little higher.
I think it would be one of those funny scenes where I'll try to kick you and I'd bounce off and fall out. Okay. Next, our final question comes from friend of the podcast, great MMA legend in Bellator, Mānoa Hine, the Eliminator, Elima Le McFarlane. She says, what are some IG accounts you recommend to follow for quality information?
You know, the number one that comes to mind that I learned so much from is this historian, Adam Keave. That guy drops so much ike. It's nuts. So I've learned a lot from him. My boss, Kalehua Krug, is another great one that I follow. I think he goes by Anarchist Moke, but That's another great profile that I gain a lot of info from him in general. Then just the other ones I don't. I'm terrible because I don't remember the names. But like Iolani Palace has a good one that I follow. I mean, this podcast I follow and learn a lot from.
Kanai Okana's one. I follow.
Kanai Okana.
Kako Ohaleakala.
Yeah, Kako Ohaleakala is another really great source. There's like those pages that are like actual like cultural pages that are fantastic. And I just can never remember the names of them. But those are some of the better ones.
Yeah.
I feel bad not knowing all those small ones because I always repost them.
Yeah.
I'm
just gonna add my own stuff too. It's just Son of Oahu. I really like.
Son of Oahu's good too.
And then for Hawaiian language, Ka'alala, Maluhia States. If you want to learn like Hawaiian as spoken by our kupunas, E Ho'opili Mai, Kanuola Solitari. He's a teacher at Kamehameha. He does free online classes for Hawaiian.
It's amazing.
So and there's people all over the world, even in Japan, attending those classes.
He's sick.
So no excuse to wherever you are.
Even Koana Torres Kahela's page is sick.
Oh yeah, Koana.
He teaches you all this stuff about lei and that's so hammered. Who else? There's a lot. Even I think one of the ladies that asked the question, the Hawaii Diaspora profile.
Oh yeah. I'm doing a podcast with them in a couple of days. They asked me to be a guest. Pawahi, I think.
Yeah, she's amazing for people that live in the diaspora to just connect with other people to see there's resources. So
yeah. I know there's a couple other like videos and pictures and profiles I see, but I don't remember.
Right, I always forget names.
I remember some of the faces or some of the posts, but yeah, there's a lot. And once you start following one, it'll start suggesting others, so you can go down a rabbit hole like that. Okay, so the follow-up question from Ilima says, what are some IG accounts you recommend not to follow? I don't know if that's like a joke or she's actually being serious.
Dude, honestly?
Like maybe there's some misinformation or...
I mean, the My Kailua page.
Oh. I haven't met that guy, but I follow him.
I mean, aside from, I don't know. That's the only one I don't really follow. Oh, what's his name? He made all this fuss the other, all the time he makes all this fuss. He's like running for political office. Now he's from Big Island, I think.
Oh, a Hugh Ranch or something? Is that the one?
Probably Kaika.
Is that the one who says he wants to stretch me?
Nah, I don't know, probably.
That like this like kind of big guy.
He always starts it off like, "What's up, guns?"
Yeah, that's the guy.
I mean, personally, I don't care for that guy or half the stuff he spews out. I find grotesque and incredibly Western mindset, and I feel like it's kind of taking us a lot steps in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So personally, I mean, I don't know him. He's probably a cool guy, but when it comes to his platform, when it comes to his platform, I'm very opposite of that man.
Yeah. So. I know. I think we like to lead with aloha and grace.
Yeah.
People have different ways of expressing it, but I don't think calling people C words is going to get you into office, unfortunately.
Got him a lot of followers. Yeah. But I mean, that's probably the one guy that I...
Yeah, he made a very scary video talking about me.
Oh, wow. See,
like saying that he's going to stretch me. I don't know what that means, but...
Sounds sexual.
Yeah, I know.
That's like one of the weird, that's probably one of the main guys that I'm like, nah, don't.
Yeah.
And again, I don't like the My Kailua page because I feel like it just pushes way too much colonial narratives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. But that's one of the examples of somebody taking the video I posted out of context, saying
exactly.
Like, oh, you think because you say I don't olelo Hawaii, I'm not Hawaiian, but I don't got time to learn all that. I'm like, you're making a 10-minute video here. You probably have some time.
Right.
If you got time to make a 10-minute video, you have time to learn olelo Hawaii.
I agree.
Yeah. Even though you don't have to learn olelo Hawaii to be Hawaiian. My dad's knows Hawaiian and he's not Hawaiian. Yeah.
See?
And like, even if you're Hawaiian by blood, knowing olelo Hawaii doesn't make you more Hawaiian.
No, it just helps you understand.
It's a tool.
Yeah, it just helps you understand things a bit better.
Yeah. Like, I love what Kalehua said. It's like, you don't learn it just to become an expert. You learn it for the journey.
Yeah.
Because you start thinking differently. You start looking at the world differently.
Start treating everything differently.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. The more I learn, the more I'm like...
Yeah. You don't go to the forest to become a tree. One of my favorite quotes from him. Yeah. All right. Well, and this is my other one. Don't follow the people on TikTok. They're really mean, and there's very toxic community over there.
You know, it's funny because my TikTok platform is way bigger than my Insta
That's
platform.
usually how it is. It's usually easier to get on followers on TikTok.
I will admit, I'm nice. I'm friends with them all. They're nice.
Yeah. And I'm not saying
nice
anything bad. Like,
they're nice to me, but it is a bit toxic.
Oh,
over
100%.
there. And at some point, every once in a while, people do kind of gatekeep things that aren't worth gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about those people who are doing things for like talking about Hawaiian stuff, like the TikTok community in general. Because so we would post stuff about like Hawaiian, and it's just somehow the algorithm pushes it out to people who
People are brutal.
like don't even understand
Yeah.
it. So like they'll be like, "What's a haole?" Or like, "Oh, Hawaiians are so spoiled," or like Hawaiians are racist, or
they
like
cry about it every day.
yeah, like they always complain. Like so, it's not even reaching the demographic audience.
It wants to, yeah.
So like I just notice of all the platforms that we have, TikTok is the most toxic.
Hands down.
And it sucks when it comes from your own people.
Yeah.
But you know, gotta have
Hands
thick skin.
down the most toxic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I still appreciate all those guys out there.
Yeah, because there are people who are making great stuff, and
we
even
need them.
Yeah, and even the people who are saying bad things about me, they bring up a lot of good points.
And they also have a lot of good EK and a lot of good videos that have taught a lot of people a lot of things. So
yeah, so I'm just like, hey, if you don't like it, you don't gotta watch it. But all the aloha to you,
right?
Just sending you aloha. That's all. Okay, so mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. Wow, we had some really good ones over there.
That was awesome. Mahalo.
Yeah. So we're coming to the back end of the podcast, and I like to ask all of my guests the same question about aloha and what keeping it aloha means to them. So in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
You know, I thought about this so hard, and then it literally was just like, whew. To me, keeping it aloha is just being real to yourself, being real to the people around you, being real to the community, and understanding that you have value and to perpetuate your value. Keeping it aloha is, to me, in a biased lens, decolonizing ourselves and our spaces and reclaiming our culture, our language, our identity, our land, and leaving it better than we found it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love that.
But lastly, keeping it aloha is being a good person. That's it. You don't need religion. You don't need nothing to be a good person. You just need to know in your na'au that what you're doing is good.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
It's easy to keep it aloha when things are going your way. People are saying nice things. Can you keep it aloha when it's not going your way, when you're angry, when you had a bad day?
Yeah.
When people aren't treating you nice, can you still keep it aloha? That's the real test.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I've had to talk to myself a lot. Keep it aloha, keep it aloha, keep it aloha. Yep. And you know, if you really do keep it aloha, you'll practice what you preach.
You know, the last thing about keeping aloha is do things without gaining praise for it. You know, you don't need to show somebody you handed somebody $5.
Yeah,
just hand them $5. You know, just do nice things because it's the right thing. That's all it is.
Keep it aloha.
Right.
Keep it aloha. Yeah. So. Awesome. I'm happy you brought up the decolonizing, because that's what my next question was gonna be. Is can you explain what decolonizing your mindset means? Because I see people post about that a lot and say a lot.
Yeah.
They say that a lot. Decolonize your mind.
So we you know, a lot of us call it like the land back movement, like Andre Perez, also a Hawaiian hammer, is part of this whole movement of Indian collective of this idea of land back. And it goes so beyond land back. It's this idea of decolonizing and land back kind of go hand in hand. It's this idea of just reclaiming everything that is ours. It's taking back our education system. It's relearning our language. It's thinking in an indigenous mindset. It's acting and living in an indigenous mindset. It's eating in an indigenous mindset. It's just taking everything that we have been taught to do from a Western lens and re-indigenizing it in a way that roots us back in the place that we're from. So for us, in this instance, it's everything Hawaii. And it's as simple as that. And it's hard. It's as hard as that. You say, oh, I'm going to decolonize, I'm decolonizing, but like everything we do is in a Western way. And so that's the hardest thing, is you start to notice everything the way we think, the way we act, the way we shop, the way we desire more and more, the way we diet, it's like, it's all from a Western standpoint. And so it's first and foremost, it's acknowledging it. It's coming to an understanding like, oh, that's not how my kupuna would have thought. That's not how my kupuna would have think. I'm not saying go back to, ancient ways. I'm saying reclaim it, relearn it, reperpetuate it, right? Bring it back. Not like caveman type things, but bring back the essence of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pass it on. Learn how to ku'ikalo. Learn how to grow kalo, right? Learn little bits of language. Start thinking in Hawaiian when you can. Learn our mo'olelo. Tell our mo'olelo. That's all it is, right? Teach mathematics using our ways of counting, using links of your finger in your hand and from your tip of your finger to your elbow. Teach things in ways that are us. That's what decolonizing is.
Mm-hmm. Do you think everybody needs to do that?
I think the whole world needs to do that. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to do that, because doing that will end this cycle of destruction of planet Earth. I mean, if there's one thing that's killing us, it's the way that society lives. We will be the demise of ourselves. And that's morbid to think. And it's our own greed, it's our own desires that keep perpetuating us into this downward spiral. And so, yeah, I think everybody needs to re-indigenize, and that can even be for people of European descent, and that might be re-indigenizing to things that they had gotten rid of 1,000 years ago, But at least the ancient people of Europe were people that didn't destroy their own land, right? Didn't see it as a rock. They saw it as a living entity.
And just gave a way deeper meaning to you are your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
That's so true, right?
So we all need to start thinking like that, including myself. Yeah. Catch myself every day.
Yeah, I mean, same.
I look out at my truck every day and I say, oh, I want that new Frontier, but the Frontier I got worked perfectly well.
Yeah.
It might be 20 years old, but it works.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so just for a little bit more clarification, when we say stop thinking Western, stop doing Western things. So I'm Hawaiian, but I'm also other ethnicities. I'm Japanese, Korean, Portuguese. So does that mean just going back to my roots, whether that is Hawaiian, Korean, Japanese, whatever?
Yeah, because far enough back, I would say far enough back, you go, every race of person lived in harmony with the earth, without a doubt. It wasn't really, I would say, until this concept of capitalistic ideology where we start desiring so much and exploiting so much that we started to see ourselves in the downward spiral of the earth's demise. And so I think it's really just think of yourself before, for most of us, pre-Christian European contact. I mean, no diss on Christianity, but like that's the truth of the matter.
Well, I mean, that has a very dark history, is Christianity. I mean, like, most colonization is directly linked to Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's why people kind of had like a small kind of beef with it.
And of course we weren't perfect, because then you're going to get the argument, well, you guys were savages and you guys ate people and you guys sacrificed people. And it's like, I'm not condoning all those actions, but I will say that the land was at least richer. We didn't have to kill people to be like that, but I'm just saying, can we get back to the good things about it?
Yeah. But wasn't human sacrifice brought with like pa'au, or where there's like
that's what they say.
It's not there's like I can't regurgitate
the
history.
Tahitian line came up from and took the marcations and blah blah blah. It came from the Tahitian and the Raiatean line, they say, not the marcation line. But Hawaiians were both, My Kahikili line, I believe, is my Tahitian Raiatean line, and my Nu'uhiva side is my marcation side. So like I'm literally both.
How do you figure out all of that if you don't if say your family's not into the mo'okuaha or they don't really know their history? How do you figure it out?
I couldn't tell you. The only reason I know is because our family did our mokuahau.
Mm.
And names, have regions of source. So I just got lucky, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. I know people on here also want to hear about the Hawaiian stuff, but I'm like getting a lot more interested in like my other cultures too. I feel almost like, man, I want to talk about, like, because I'm starting to learn Japanese. I started watching anime, so I'm like really into my Japanese culture right now.
And we should be. We should celebrate it all. Like our mokuahau is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why I wore my tauvala today to represent my Tongan lineage. I have, moko on me from my Aotearoa line to show my ties to my mara, my iwi and my whakapapa. And so, I'm like a walking weird contradiction of all these things, but it's like, why not embrace it all?
It's authentic though.
Right, but like, why? Yeah. Thank you. Like, why not embrace it all? Because I'm not just one. And that's beautiful. Like, embrace your Japanese side. And I say this hypocritically because, like, man, I'm a lot European and I should be learning a lot more of my that descent too. And I am proud of it. But
see, that brings up one of my favorite phrases that I hear is, don't hear what I'm not saying. Just because I'm saying I'm proud to be Hawaiian doesn't mean I'm not saying I'm proud to be my other ethnicities. Just because we talk about Hawaii and Hawaiian culture doesn't mean that I don't care about my Korean side or my Portuguese side, or when I say my Caucasian side, like, it's not that I'm disregarding it. It's just I'm more proud to be Hawaiian, and that's what we're talking about.
Right. And we're in Hawaii. This is what we know. If you were in Japan, I'm sure you'd be a lot more proud to be Japanese, but you don't know the culture as well. Yeah. I don't know European culture as well. I don't know anything about Nordics and Welsh people, I'm a significant amount of it, but I just don't. And I've never identified as it. No one's going to look at me and say, that's a Welsh man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's a Nordic man. Like, no, that's not happening. Yeah. So, I identify with what I am, and I'm proud of it, though. I am proud. The only line I'm not proud of that I will honor, though, is I think, if my history is right, we have a line through like some of the first American settlers, and like they were like, I think, Indian killers, and to me that's like, oh, damn it. But for me, I contradict that by just acknowledging that they sucked, you know what I mean, and naming it, and that's like my way of like coming to peace with it.
Well, you're not responsible for all the
atrocities
things, of your past, I think.
But the what you are responsible for is acknowledging it. Mm-hmm. And acknowledging the privilege that it gives you. Mm-hmm. And my white ancestors had privilege. And that's something you cannot deny. Mm-hmm. And my white cousins that are still of that, complexion still have benefits that I will never. Mm-hmm. And that's just a matter of fact. Yeah. You can deny it all you want, but until you see it, walk a day in my shoes, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What's crazy with like the privilege talk is that I've always, over the last couple of years, ever since I started to travel and leave Hawaii, I've always been grateful and appreciated my whole upbringing and living here. But it wasn't until recently where I really knew or acknowledged the privilege of being able to live here compared to other Hawaiians. Because it's like, I'm so lucky I get to grow up here, where my friend that I met in the Peace Corps grew up in Kansas or something, and that's just like mainlander continent, somebody who grew up on the continent versus somebody who grew up in Hawaii. But I didn't think about me versus my Hawaiian cousin who grew up in Orange County or something that looks super haole, they love the Hawaiian culture so much. They love coming here all the time. And like I never really thought about that perspective of it, like Hawaiian to Hawaiian privilege. Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I've always looked the part, and like most of my cousins don't. And I guess that is a privilege in a lot of ways. But they also get the privilege of being able to go wherever they want and not being looked at twice. Mm-hmm. It's not until they come to Hawaii that people are like, you Hawaiian? No, don't look Hawaiian. But that brings me to the next thing of like, the issue of being indigenous, but always feeling like the outcast.
Yeah. Because we are the minority.
But like, I hate that. I hate that our own people are the ones that belittle us.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a crabs in a bucket
and there's
mentality.
no matter what you do, you know, you can be as authentic as you can be. You can be as cultural as you can be, and someone's gonna be like, "Why are you wasting your time with the culture? Be more haole." And then you be too haole, and they go, "Why are you so haole?" And then you know you go work hard, and they're like, "Why are you building buildings for colonialism?" And then you're like, ugh. And then you go to school, and this one I started getting is, "Why are you getting haole's education? You're just gonna get like, oh my God, there's no winning. There's
Damned
no
if you do,
winning.
damned if you don't.
Yeah,
That's what
no
they say.
winning.
See, that's the only thing we can do is
Just
be
us.
on your own path, be your authentic self, block out all the noise. Because a lot of the time people complaining, they ain't doing. They're just complaining.
Exactly.
We're out here doing. We're having the conversation. We're doing the hard work.
Yep.
They're just complaining. You know what I was thinking about when I was running my marathon? I was just reciting hater comments in my head.
Motivation, huh?
Because I ran without music. I'm just saying, this guy's a clown. His podcast is trash.
I'm gonna stretch you.
Yeah, I'm gonna stretch you. Like, if I see you, like, I was saying that all in my head. And you know what was motivating me is like, they're on social media commenting on other people's life while I'm out here challenging myself, pushing myself, running a marathon. They're probably
masochist.
sleeping right now, comfy in their bed,
Right.
and I'm out here doing difficult things. That's seriously what I thought
you
about.
know, like, it's such a common mo'olelo, but makahana kaike.
Mm-hmm.
Until you're doing the work, what you doing? My friend in junior high, his dad was like this trucker sitting in his lazy boy with like beer cans everywhere. And I remember he goes, we were talking about something, and I was running for like class president, and I was like, "What's a good slogan?" What was a good slogan? Blah blah blah. You know, to his dad, Mr. Cruz. That was his last name. He goes, "Duck don't cook rice."
What?
Talk don't cook rice. And I laughed my ass off. And then I really stopped and I thought about it. I was like, dude, you could talk about cooking rice all damn day. But rice won't get cooked until you cook the damn rice.
That's funny.
And I literally have lived by that quote since I was 14. And what a dumb quote to live by.
I love it.
Talk don't cook rice. And it's not even grammatically correct. It's not talk don't cook rice. But like,
Yeah.
Really?
That's funny.
Do the work.
Yeah. Talk. I like that. Talk don't. I like anything with rice. I have rice tattooed on my forearm.
There you go.
Because from Madagascar, that's why. So I love anything, any quote with rice. Rice is life.
Nah, that's his quote too. Now. Until you do the work,
I was starting
you won't
saying
gain the
that.
knowledge.
Talk don't cook rice.
It's so straightforward though, man. But like seriously, talk. But until you start doing the work,
Yeah.
What's your comment at me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talked on the phone before this podcast about coming with receipts, right?
Yeah.
Is that a lot of people like to just say all these things, but they don't want to do the work to actually prove anything.
You know, opinions are cute, but until you come at me with academic receipts or cultural receipts, like what you're saying is just your opinion. And if we're talking historical, educational, academic conversations, then bring receipts. And my receipts aren't always 100% accurate. I'll be real. I've had people be like, "Bro, you're wrong there." And I go look, I'm like, "Oh, damn, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
My sources weren't 100% right." And that's just falls back on me as an academic to be a better academic and find 3 to 4 sources to cite rather than just 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's really all it comes down to. Two sources is never quite enough, because maybe the one source got his source from the other guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think her name was Margaret Mead, that got all kinds of false information from Samoan ladies, and then it became the laughing stock of her academic field for a while, and nobody took her serious.
Yeah,
because they just spewed lies to her.
It happens all the time, though. I hear something, I'm like, "Wow, that sounds legit." Then I'll just say it. Like, if I guarantee you, if somebody were to look at all these episodes of the podcast, they could find so many things that are just factually incorrect.
But I'm not all about academia, and I don't think it's for everybody. And truth be told, I didn't think it was for me. I stumbled back into academia, and I was a D and an F student with learning disabilities. I never thought I would get to where I did. But the one thing I will say that it did so much for me was it made me so much more confident, but it also taught me how to do research. and how to do thorough research and what sources matter and how to find academic sources. And like, so many of us just don't do that. You know, they're just like, oh, I heard it on TikTok. And like,
I saw a 10-second clip.
Yeah.
It must be true.
Yeah. It's like, no, man, fact check it. Do your work. Do
Yeah.
your work.
But that's the thing. Nobody wants to put in the work. Yeah.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
It's so vital, especially for cultural things, because we need to be telling the truth. Our people deserve that. Our people deserve that.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest problem, the biggest thing holding us back from getting to where we need to be?
Ourselves. Laziness and our own egos, especially for Hawaiians, bro. I'd never seen a more disconnected group of people that have their own politics that don't align. We probably could have gotten our sovereignty if there wasn't a dozen sovereignty groups. The fact that everybody be fighting everybody is the stupidest damn thing.
Yeah.
Unite as a common front, pick a spokesperson, and do the damn thing. The fact that everybody wants to have their own agenda and their own leaders and nobody will align with each other, that's why we're still where we are. That's why we're still calling ourselves Americans. That's why my ID still says America on it. You know, we are our own worst enemy because we just have too much pride in ourselves and too much ego that we can't step down and choose the right party and the right person to lead us. You know, ha. Be humble. I'm sure as hell not the best leader. I wouldn't lead the party, but I know damn well I wouldn't. But I have people in my mind that I'm like, dude, those guys could be the one.
I vote Kaliho Krug.
You know, there's a lot of fantastic leaders, but again, we're too disconnected because we're all too prideful.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say.
And that's a human error.
Of course.
That's not even like a Hawaiian or Western.
No.
That's just pure human.
And it's island
error.
to island. It's ahupua'a to ahupua'a. It's community to community, you know? It's dumb.
Yeah. I know. It's like, you zoom out far enough, these are all just human mistakes.
Right.
Right?
We're our own worst enemy, man.
Yeah.
It's sad to see.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So we're coming to like the end part of the podcast. And I just want to know, what is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
I'm a teddy bear, man. I'm a softie. I look scary because I'm like big and tattooed, but man, like I'm the dude that like cries through movies.
That's so funny. They Kaliho had a similar answer.
Yeah. And I'm like terrified of needles, which is
That's
really
so
funny.
funny.
So like when I get shots, I almost faint. But honestly, I think people are intimidated by me. But to be honest, I'm probably more intimidated by them.
Yeah. No, you seem nice. Well, can you tell us the story of your tattoo that you just got on your head?
I'll give you a snippet of it.
Yeah.
So I'll try to turn. So my buddy Samson, Hart on Maui, he did it for me because I wanted to get it traditionally by Kalahu or somebody like that, Poki, or one of the practitioners. But truth be told, nobody saw my journey of re-indigenizing myself like Sam.
Mm-hmm.
He literally watched from the very beginning to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a lot of people see it as like a Hawaiian design, but for me, it's a more Maori design that kind of shows the steps of life and knowledge. And just, once you learn something, don't plateau. Like, seek knowledge to the next step. Kuliai kanu'u, strive for the next thing and never let yourself plateau. And so for me, Kalihu probably said it too, but like our kakao aren't for design. They aren't to look cool. It's to help us, it's to guide us. So all the things that I try to mark myself with, I don't know if it's culturally right, but to me, it has meaning within our culture of why I did it and where I did it. So I obviously put it on my po'o because what better place to learn and retain ike and knowledge than my own head.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I put it. It's not done yet. I'm gonna have him do a couple more steps, and then I want him to do an umeke at the bottom to catch all that knowledge.
Whoa.
So I don't lose it because I do have a learning disability, and so retaining information is just brutally hard for me. So like everything I try to get is really just either for protection or just for me trying to not to retain info. Because it's so easily just like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. Gotta be sore, huh?
It honestly wasn't that bad. It
Really?
was really just behind the ear.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll get other tattoos. I always go back and forth, like if I want like a traditional one. I don't feel like I need one. So
There you go.
So exactly.
You know?
I think until I get to the point, because I'm not gonna get one just to look cool or to be like a local boy with a
Yeah, right. See, for me, a lot of it was just the insecurities.
Yeah.
It was the insecurities of myself and the fears and the scare, that pushed me to get the things that I thought would make me stronger. And maybe that's not the right reason, but for me, it was all about just continually getting things that would make me strive to be the best I can be. Because the ultimate goal is to become like the greatest kupuna for our future. If we're being honest, the best goal is to strive to become the aumakua for our family. So that's selfishly what I do it for.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool perspective. It's like we're always trying to be better every day, but I never heard of like trying to be the best. What did you say? Not before aumakua? Best.
I want to be the best kupuna.
Best kupuna,
Because,
and then even higher being the best aumakua.
My Hawaiian kupuna died from a drunk driver. I never met him.
Mm-hmm.
And I always dreamed of like, what could he have taught me about Hawaii? My Tongan side, they taught me a lot of Tongan stuff, but it was also a lot of like really Mormon stuff. So it was like, you kind of had to pick through it. And so like, I just longed for the kupuna you read about in the books. Oh, my tutu took me fishing and she taught me all this ike. And you're like, oh, I want that. And I never had it. So like my deepest goal in life is to become the kupuna that I never had. So anytime my keiki come up to me and they're like, Tutu, what's this? I could be like, oh, let me give you one more lelo, and I just drop some freaking ike and they're like, oh,
That's so cool. It's making me think like wanting to be the best version of myself is selfish, but being the best kupuna is more like giving to others.
It's not about me.
Yeah, it's like, because
my
if I'm just being the best kamaka, I'm doing that for myself.
Right.
If I'm being the best kamaka going into the kupuna version, it's like I'm doing that for everyone else
I want the
to give back that
community to
knowledge.
come to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it is narcissistic, but I want them to be able to come to me as a source.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know that things aren't going to die with my generation or the generation before me even.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, like we have to be the future kupuna. And if we're not taking on that responsibility, then what the hell are we doing?
Nice.
What are we doing? And it doesn't end there, because once you are the righteous enough kupuna, you have built the stepping stones to become the aumakua.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
So that you are there forever. 7 generations ahead, they still know how to honor you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's cool. I'm going to take baby steps and go at being the best uncle first.
Yeah.
And then get kufuna status.
Once you get one keiki.
Yeah. Right now, I'm an uncle status right now.
When I was you, I was like, I was the same thing. I was like, I'm uncle. I'm still going to go rage and just do cool things so that I can. But had a kid and I was like, wow, life changed.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. I love that. I love that perspective. Mahalo for sharing that. All right, so before we end the podcast, I gotta know, what is your life hack?
My life hack. I thought about this a lot too, because I know you ask a lot of people. First and foremost, the simple answer is downloading all the apps that I use for sources and keeping them in like one doc. So like I can just click there and I'm like, oh, Britannica. Oh, Ulukau. But like that's my technological source. But I will say my life hack lately has been, I told it to you earlier with Kahana's answer, don't go to other sources trying to seek answers for yourself. Go to your roots first. Don't go thinking that you need to get crystals and sage and all these things that just aren't your culture. Before you do that, dive into your own identity first. Dive into your culture. If you're Japanese, dive into Japanese culture. Dive into Chinese culture. Dive into Filipino culture. Dive into Hawaiian culture. And if what you dove into isn't hitting right, then go try your crystals. But first things first, always try your ways first, because it's literally in our DNA. So many people are lost. So many Hawaiians think they can find themselves in all these other sources. And if they just hi'uvai, cleanse themselves and just, dove in head first with no fear, into what it is to be truthfully an oceanic person and a Hawaiian or whatever you are, I promise you, a majority of you guys will find purpose. You'll find understanding. You'll find a home.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
don't be scared.
I agree. Before you do any of that, jump in Aloha.
Yep.
If you're Hawaiian, if you're lost, if you're insecure, if you don't feel Hawaiian enough, jump in Aloha and see how you feel after that. Yeah.
Dive into us first.
Yeah.
Just try it. If it doesn't work, then it didn't work. You wasted a few days, a few months, whatever. But try us first.
Yeah.
Try whatever you are first.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. What is a question you wish I asked before we end this podcast?
A question I wished you asked. Maybe more convos around, I would say, modern settler colonialism.
Well, we'll go another hour talking about that. I'm just joking. Did you wanna share anything about that before?
No, I mean, I'll leave it at this. I'll keep it pretty bland. I know a lot of, and I said it earlier too, I know a lot of people think that they have a desire to move here. I want to just leave them with this idea that everybody thinks they're just one person. Oh, but I'm only just one guy. But there's a couple thousand more of just one guys. And that many more one guys means that many less one Hawaiians here. And, you know, just keep that in mind when people want to move here, people want to come here. We are very much the minority. We make up less than 20% of the population. We are hands down the most impoverished, the most houseless in our own indigenous land. And so no matter what kind of pono ideology you come with, it's always going to come with a level of displacement and a level of settler colonialism, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, great food for thought for people to, you know, just think about, have conversations with your partner, with your friends, with your family. What is that thing you posted? I think you and Kalua posted it on your story recently. It was like a term. It was like
Polynesian or
Polynesian.
Like
Yeah. I was laughing at that.
Real quick. So that was on the ideology of, in this States, you know, this goes back to so much of what we see around us. And it's this idea of indigenous Polynesians is what it was talking about, but Pacific Island people embracing, you know, Western ways and settler ways and embracing them over our own ways, and how detrimental that is to us, because like it literally is killing us with every generation. You know, I say it all the time, what is Hawaii without Hawaiians? But you can be Hawaiian and not be Hawaiian. If you can have the koko, but if you don't have the culture, you just one big haole at the end of the day. I don't mean by just white person, I mean by foreigner. You're just a big brown foreigner in Hawaii at the end of the day. You know, we have to embrace our culture. We have to embrace our identity. We have to embrace ourselves. It's vital for the existence of us. It's vital. If we lose it, it's gone forever. And we've seen other cultures lose their their language and their culture. What happens? It's sad. So that whole topic just dives into that. Be unapologetically Oceanic. Be unapologetically Hawaiian. Unapologetically Niuean. Whatever it is, you don't have to explain why you are. Just do it. Nobody ever looks at me and says, "Bro, why you act so Polynesian? Why you act so Hawaiian?" I don't have to explain myself. No, just do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, who's gonna?
Yeah. And plus, you don't have to explain yourself to people who only want to misunderstand you.
Right. And, you know, that's a challenge to all Pacific Island people, especially the people in diaspora. You know, it's easy to assimilate. It's hard.
Yeah. See, well, what you said about being Hawaiian, that's what I was trying to say, people. That's what I was going for. If you got blood, you're Hawaiian. But I appreciate more the people who live in the Hawaiian ways and do things that are Hawaiian. Not saying you have to check off a whole list of things to be Hawaiian, but just if you're going to claim you're Hawaiian and push this Hawaiian narrative, then I want to see the action more than the talk. Because talk don't cook rice.
Talk don't cook rice. Damn.
All right, well, I just have my last fast fave 5 questions and then we're going to wrap up, right?
Yep.
All right. So, favorite Hawaiian food?
Ooh. Squidluau.
I love that too. Okay. Favorite post-work snack? So you just finish teaching or even finish hula, whatever, and you're like, okay, I gotta eat something. What is it?
Oh, I mean, honestly, it's musubi for the accessibility, but my all-time guilty pleasure is corn dog.
Nice. Is it like the kind you freeze and you just microwave it?
Oh, but it has to be fried or air fried. Any other way, but I'm like a purist with it a little more.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. My friend Steven loves corn dogs. It's so funny.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite way to decompress?
Either play music or just sit with my family on the couch.
Nice. Simple.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Favorite travel destination outside of Hawaii?
That's really hard for me. I've been a lot of places, but none of them are like Hawaii.
Yeah. That's the problem, right?
Right. I mean, I loved Tonga when I was there. I loved Fiji when I was there. I like going to my in-laws' house. I despise Florida. I hate it. But I like my in-laws' house in Florida. So
hey, it's the people that make it, not the place.
Exactly. I don't think I have a favorite place. I just enjoy traveling.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And last question: favorite TV show, movie, or book, whatever you're into. Because I ask this question, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, but I don't really watch movies, or I don't really read books." So between those three,
I don't have a favorite TV show or movie because obviously it changes with what's coming out. Like Hunt for the Wilder People was always one of my favorite.
I like that.
It's freaking hilarious. I'm the Terminator.
What was his name? Ricky
Ricky Baker.
Ricky Baker. That's a song, right? He did sing a song.
Ricky Baker.
Yeah.
But when it comes to TV, I love the Our Flag Means Death is funny as crap. I watch a lot of John Oliver.
Oh, okay.
Things like that. For TV, it's really educational or it's like turn my brain off stupid. Res Dogs was great too. When it comes to books, I couldn't tell you. Dude, there's just so dang many. I never thought I was a reader. And then all of a sudden I hit like my 30s and I was like, I like books. To be honest with you, The Missing King, translated from French and Tahitian, I believe, to English, insane story. It's so much culture from Marquesian and Tahitian and Raiatean. Crazy story in general. But yeah, I love Pacifica literature. So The Missing King was...
Who writes it? Who's the author?
I can't remember.
Okay, but just The Missing King.
I believe that's what it's called. It has like a chess piece on it. It's a black book and it looks like it's written in chalk. But yeah, good book.
Okay, right on. Yeah. Well, that's all we have for you today. Mahalo so much for coming in, talking stories with me and our awesome Keep It Aloha podcast audience. Do you have anything you want to share? If not, just tell us where we can find you.
I will share this because I think it's funny. When I first saw this podcast hit and all the people that were on it, I made a mental note that I would one day be on this podcast as a life goal. I manifested that. And I really don't know how because my platform is not nearly big enough to be in this space. So I'm really grateful. And I hope that my mana'o hits the masses so that these issues can be really, heard. Because we don't do this for no reason, right?
Yeah.
We do our work for a reason. So mahalo for having me on. It's such a freaking honor.
I love hearing that.
I can't believe it because all the hammers that have been on this show, bro.
You're part of it now.
Wow. So many people, bro. Yeah. Told my mom, Capono.
Yeah.
Capena. Anyway, you can find me on TikTok is my bigger platform. I put more videos up there than I do on IG because I'm scared of what people say on IG. I don't care about TikTok.
That's so funny. I'm opposite.
Yeah.
I'm like, IG is my safe space and then TikTok's a scary place.
Because IG is where all the actual Hawaiians follow me. I'm like, what if I'm wrong? But you can find me on there as, I think it's Kili Kanaka, like Kili as in Kiliona, and then Kanaka. So Kili Kanaka. I think my name on it is Kalanite, which is my middle name. And then on IG, you can just find me as my first and last name, Kiliona Palauni, phonetic. You'll see it on the podcast anyway.
Yeah, right on. Well, it's been an honor to talk with you, and I love your platform and what you're doing, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't deserve it. So
Mahalo.
yeah, totally appreciate you. Mahalo, Kiliona, for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka. Remember to always keep it aloha. Yeah. Right on. Mahalo.
Mahalo, man.